FunPop. FunPop.
Transfer keys.
And hello, everybody. We are live, and I think everything should be up and running well. Hi, how are you? This is FunPop. We are back, and this is episode 20. Yeah, we've been away for 3 weeks.
Almost a month.
Yeah, 3 weeks. It feels like forever. So
It
much has
has.
happened. Psychonauts went out of town to Florida for a couple weeks. And then we had the first week of school, and I just wanted to make sure my daughter was all set because FunPop was set for the night before the first day. Now she's not going to be actually in school for 14 days, which is crazy because she's only been in school for 4 days. But hey, it's a thing, I guess. It's the world we're living in now. And you see, there's just been changes. Well, actually, you don't know. The intros and all the graphics and stuff, we got to update some of this stuff. So 3-bit is too busy for us now. He's too in demand. He is hot to trot. He's got all these people coming at him wanting him to do all this work, and he doesn't have time for FunPop on Wednesday nights. Most of the time he's gonna hop in and join us occasionally when he can, but this is now what's going to be, I think, a 3-person show, and Kate is going to take that spot that 3-bit has vacated, but she's not feeling well tonight. So I sent out a bat signal to a guy that I knew has amazing Marvel, DC opinions, great thoughts, and also a great guy in the community that I have gotten to know a little bit. Luckily, getting to podcast with him on a few shows, and also have become kind of a fan of some of his shows as well. I catch them in the chat occasionally, and try. Y'all have had some awesome conversations recently, and some very interesting ones that I was happy to be in the chat for. So, great stuff from this guy. And everybody, please welcome our guest this week, none other than KhAos, growing YouTuber. Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Matt, for sending out the old bat signal. I was sitting at home, and all of a sudden I looked in the sky and I saw the Fun Speculation logo. I was like, okay, let's go. So here I am. Thank you so much. Yes.
Yeah, well, thanks for joining us, dude. I was actually wanting to get together with you on a show. We had talked about it a little bit before, right? And it just happened to work out where you were free tonight, and we had planned to do the thing with my wife, but she just wasn't up to it right now. So we got 3 people.
I hope she feels better.
Oh yeah, she will for sure. It's not nothing bad. Just it's been a rough week at home for her, with stuff going on with my daughter's school and all this kind of stuff. It's been craziness.
I think I spoke to her on Twitter once about that. I know how it's like. We're going through relatively the same thing right now.
Yeah, it's nuts, man. It's like it's a crazy world. Shout out to the chat. Our dude 3-bit is in the chat. I told him we're gonna have a eulogy for him this week on the show because he's gone now from FunPop. So we're gonna have a remembrance.
Come on now.
We're gonna have a remembrance. Shout out to BACfromthedead, Jasper, Kate, Geezer, Prime. How's it going? Tony Grasso. It says, "What's up, folks? I hate comics and superheroes, but love listening to you guys. Have a good show." Hey, well, that's cool that you're here, even though you hate the subject matter. That means that you love us, which means we love you too. That's awesome, dude.
That's great.
So, in remembrance of 3-bit, it's been no, I'm just kidding. All right, guys, there's been a lot happen in the last 3 weeks since we've been gone, and one thing that's happened that we have to talk about, that I've been itching to talk about. I mean, I've been wanting to talk about this ever since I saw it, and that is the Suicide Squad. It's been out for a couple weeks now. Was it 2 weeks? I think.
I think so, yeah, about 2 weeks.
Man, the internet was on fire with this movie. I mean, just people saying, "Wow, they hit it out of the park." Right? Finally, this great DC movie, and I'm so happy about that. Right? Super happy about finally a lot of positive talk about a DC movie. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So the interesting thing is that my thoughts may put a damper on some of that. So I'm worried about the fallout that I might get. After
You're setting
show.
up this hill quite high. Are you about to like fall off a cliff right now? Is that what we're about to do?
I'm not, because I don't. I'm not trying to poop in anybody's Cheerios. Okay, right?
Okay.
But this was a great movie to a lot of people, which means they are on the right track here, and they're finally hitting the notes right. But it's time for us to give our thoughts and our impressions of our opinion alone, right? And because that's what this is about, and I have certain thoughts that I want to say, but at first I would be remiss if I didn't ask our guest.
Put me in the hot seat first, right? Go ahead. Set the standard.
I'm curious,
Come on.
like the Suicide Squad. How did it land for you? And what are your overall impressions about the movie?
So, okay, I will preface this by saying I watched the first Suicide Squad before watching the second The Suicide Squad.
Okay.
Doesn't mean I didn't see the first one first before. I had, but it had been a while, and I know it was like loosely related, so I figured let me remind myself of what this is based off of, and let's get into the second one. So I will tell you that to me, the Suicide Squad is kind of like a new hope to Star Wars, the recent New Awakening. I forget the name. I think episode 6, is it? Yeah.
The Force Awakens.
Force Awakens. Yeah.
Seven.
It's the same, basically the same beat, but a different movie. Like there's the same characters. It's like James Gunn has a signature style. He's built up a style over time, right? And you can see it in formula on your screen. It's basically the Guardians of the Galaxy light, if you will, with certain strategic elements placed in. The film itself, I thought, was pretty interesting. In a vacuum, DC movies haven't done so well, but I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was fun. I thought, the DC characters were well represented. I had some issues here and there. Would I watch it again? Sure. Was it fun time to watch? It was. I mean, is it revolutionary? I don't think so. But, we can get into some of the details of what I thought or what issues you and I had with it down the line. But I had fun with it. I thought it was great. What was it? I think myself and my partner Everborn reviewed it as well. At the time, I think I gave it about a 7.5 out of 10. I still think that's roughly how I feel about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Hey, that's good thoughts. You're not over the moon for it. You like the movie.
Yes. But
cool.
see, but you should also know that I'm the type of person. I think we were talking about this before the show. I'm the type of person that can find fun in most things.
Yeah.
You have to really be bad for me to say, oh yeah, this sucked. You have to be offensively bad. Even bad movies, I can find fun in if you're bad enough. You know what I'm saying? Like the recent Zack Snyder movie for Netflix, that was so bad it was fun. The zombie movie that he released on Netflix recently.
Oh, yeah,
it was ridiculous.
I like that one. Like Psycho.
Yeah, but it was fun.
I like that movie.
Yes.
I thought it was cool.
It was fun. It had so many, like there are threads that never get paid off. There are like the robot zombies that never get spoken of.
Yeah.
There are like eyes that shoot out of nowhere. All the stuff that we thought we saw, but he eventually spoke to and goes, you'll have to see the next one to find out. There's some really weird things in there, but I thought it was fun. So I'm the type of person that can usually watch something and find the fun. So for me, it was fun, but I do understand there's a contingency of individuals that have some serious issues with this movie. And to them, I can see their arguments.
Yeah.
And we can get into it.
Okay. Psycho just watched The Suicide Squad.
Okay.
But hold on.
Just before the show?
I got it just before the show, but I got to do this because they were asking me to in the chat. Another remembrance for 3-bit. In the arms of the angel,
Oh my lord.
Far away from here. Okay, that's it. All right, that's all you get.
Someone needs to clip that for sure.
Yeah, no. Cut to puppy dogs on the screen looking sad and hungry. Speaking of puppy dogs, Psycho.
Yes, sir.
The Suicide Squad. You just watched it, and
Yeah.
Is this the thing that people have been waiting for from DC?
I think so. For a long while. DC. I like Suicide. I like the Suicide Squad. It was funny. Had a right amount of gore, if you want to say, with the shark eating everyone, and there was just banter. It was just the soundtrack was. I think the soundtrack was on fire. It was. I loved it. So to me, it was just one of those. It was a great, and that's what makes like DC movies different from Marvel, is that they're more. They don't give a shit, as in the fact that they have more blood and they don't care if they kill off some characters and things like that. It's just more gore, and it's not kid friendly. I mean, not everything on Marvel is kid friendly. Look at Deadpool, but it's really great to see finally a great freaking DC movie that we haven't seen in a long time. So I definitely everything that I watched was great. I liked it. The only what they did with the Starro is the only thing that I would have any negative thing to say about. But other than that,
Yeah.
Okay.
up to that point, fantastic movie.
So you didn't like Starro?
I love Starro. I just didn't like how the with what happened with Starro.
Okay.
So like I thought it was gonna be.
Oh, and by the way, Mav, forgive me. Are we full spoilers? Are we gonna spoil later?
It's been a few weeks and it's on HBO Max. So at this point, for me, if you haven't seen it, then you don't care
spoiler
too much
town.
about seeing it, right? So we're going in spoiler territory here, guys.
Okay.
So feel free to have at it and tell everybody what happened. And this is forewarning for anybody watching.
Okay. So then I guess my question, Psycho, to ask you to elaborate a little bit on what you didn't like.
So it was the fact that rats took down Starro. It was just like millions of rats. I was like, am I watching, what is that, Plague's Tale on the screen right now? Like, what is going on? I just.
Oh, that would be cool for a Plague Tale movie. Oh man, yeah, okay.
Right? I mean, that was cool, but I mean, it was just. I thought the Suicide Squad was going to do something, and they were all just fucking getting killed off. I was just like, "Yo, what is going on?" Especially in the very beginning, where like there was a lot of people. I was like, "Yo, all right," and then with Weasel and freaking Captain Boomerang,
werewolf Weasel.
Yeah, it's a werewolf. Get me out of here! That was awesome. But it was just like I just wish they had more involvement of taking down Starro than Harley Quinn and the rats.
Yeah,
I mean, I get it why they did it, because the rats could climb up, and as Harley Quinn kind of like speared through his eyeball and opened up so the rats could get in. But I mean, really, it was just like,
I mean, how familiar are you with the subject, the source material? Like, have you like read any of the comics or anything like that?
Not with Starro, no.
Okay,
no,
it is. I will tell you, it is very and for this, I actually went and saw a bit of that. It is unusually comics accurate. Like they went really comics accurate to the point where I was just like, it's impressive how comics accurate they went.
Okay.
Like, usually they don't go that comics accurate because there is that risk. You've never seen Wolverine in his yellow tights for that reason. But they went really comics accurate here, Yeah, I see what you're saying, and I can agree with you on that. But I do give them points for not having the crazy beam of lightning in the sky at the end, as every one of these things tend to. Their solution was a little bit different. It was kind of interesting,
Yeah.
you know. It was odd, you know. So
Yeah.
I give them points for that. But yes, the whole thing was just gross and weird.
Yeah.
The whole
I just
thing.
thought like I thought maybe like I forget the character's name, but the shark.
King
Mhm.
Shark.
I thought
King Shark, yeah.
I thought he would like at least like chomp through the eyeball with Harley Quinn, and he would like start damaging. And you know that would to me like okay, that would probably been a little bit better than him just chomping little bits off his arm, and then Starro just fling it.
Isn't he like the new Groot? But he's much funnier than Groot, though. I mean, I think he's
King
like
Shark, yeah.
yes, King Shark with
Bird.
Stallone's voice. I mean, come on, he's
Bird.
brilliant. You know,
Yeah.
absolutely. Like, give me a whole show of just new King Shark with just Stallone just going ham.
Right?
I love it.
Yeah.
It's just great.
Yeah, I mean the movie was I liked it. I liked it as you know, I didn't go look at the source material. So if you're saying that that's
Oh no, it's
do
pretty
the source
comics
ma-
accurate. Yeah, it's pretty comics
so
accurate.
that then that's pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, they did
then-
a pretty good job. And
Okay.
even to the idea of like the complaints that you have, like they really didn't do much. That's basically the Suicide Squad, you know. Like my issues that I had with it a bit was more like, you know, Amanda Waller's supposed to be this crazy badass, and she always rides that badass line, and I love the actress who plays her, and like she just does it. It's just awesome, right? But she went a little too mustache twirly this time. A little too much, you know,
Yeah, it
to
was
the
a little
point where
extreme. Yeah, it was like,
yeah,
okay.
you know, it was a little too much to the point where the even her crew had to then knock her out. And
Right?
okay, and
Yeah,
if,
that
and
was
if you want
funny
to
as
do
shit,
that,
though.
which
Like,
was funny,
yeah.
but then if you want to do that, then I want to see all of them get murdered at the end, because you can't do that to Amanda Waller. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Oh,
It left
that's a
a
good
little bit of
point.
like a,
Yeah.
you know, like she's this crazy chick that will like,
Yeah.
you know, do whatever it
Well,
takes.
you know what
and
they'll
you can
do?
do that and get away with it? Like, come on now, you know.
That's how if there's a sequel, that's how they'll start the next one. They'll have like
They
some
better.
like, cleaning crew come through and like take everybody out while she's just standing
Yeah.
there, like not even paying attention to what's going on around her.
Mhm.
And then
Sipping a
they just bring
coffee.
in the new staff and then put them all in
Yeah.
there, and where they can see the havoc that was just wrecked, and like, no, not to fuck with this lady. You know,
You
So
know,
that's
they
how
better,
they'll start
because
the sequel.
that was my first issue. I'm like, you gonna let her get away with that? Like, come on
Yeah.
now,
yeah.
you know. But yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's true.
All
She
right,
did,
guys.
they did whack her upside the head pretty good.
All right, so let me say that I enjoyed the movie. Okay, just like all the movies, even the ones that most everybody says they hate, I enjoyed. Okay,
Okay.
but as everybody was saying they hated the original Suicide Squad, I was not one of those. I actually liked the movie. And in fact, I liked it more than this one.
Okay.
Which is a crazy take. I know that is.
No. Keep going. I wouldn't say it's
According
crazy.
to
Continue.
99% of people out there, I would be wrong, right?
Oh, I won't be one of those. Continue. Yes.
So the crazy thing is, my wife is 100% the same, which is also strange. But okay, so let me tell you what I liked about it and what I didn't like about it, and then I'm going to tell you why I liked the first one, original, whatever you want to call it, because it's confusing. Better, okay. So first off, I thought the movie was funny. I thought it had a lot of great funny moments in it, and that was a classic like James Gunn thing, right?
Yeah.
So he brought that Guardians humor to the Suicide Squad, and that worked well, right?
Yep.
The second thing I liked about it is it was not afraid to go to the extreme and go there, right? The second we saw Pete Davidson's face get blown off at the beginning, is like, okay, this is what kind of movie this is, right?
Yeah.
Like, it just set the tone right there. Like, holy shit, did I just see that happen? What else is going to happen in this movie, right? The second I saw that, set the tone. They were not afraid to take those steps and to go to those places, which I admire in a movie. And I also think that is maybe one of the number one reasons why it's had the impact it has with the audience, where they're like, come out of the theater like, whoa, yeah, that was cool, right? I liked some of the characters. I thought John Cena was hilarious as the peacemaker. Peacemaker. I thought he was hilarious. I thought Idris Elba, I liked him better as Bloodsport than I did Will Smith, actually.
So you liked Bloodsport better than you did Deadshot?
Yes.
Okay, continue. Okay.
Yeah. Bloodsport, I think just him as a character, something about his personality in that role kind of felt more like, okay, he is a dickhead being forced to be that leader, right? And he's going through that, you know, and they did a good job with the character with him. Okay. Whereas Will Smith's character, Deadshot, I liked what they did. You know, it's funny that they used the daughter against like both of them in a way, right? Like, so it's like the little same plot line, you know. It's like they couldn't get Will Smith, so they just took the script and then changed it to Bloodsport.
The same actor type, the same skill set, the same, you know, the same carrot on the string, you know. Yeah.
But that being said, I think maybe it's because I like Idris Elba, right?
Great actor. Yes.
Yeah, like I like Idris Elba a lot, so he just really comes through. Like, he really did a great job leading through that movie, dealing with all the craziness around him, you know, because he's like us, like going through this and like, okay, there's a fucking shark.
Yeah, he's the audience surrogate.
Like, he's like, what the hell, you know, and he's got this like attitude, you know, but then he comes through in the end, right? Just like, But I liked what they did with the character. Okay. Ratcatcher. Everybody loves Ratcatcher. I thought she was like, had her moments, like in the bus. She had a great moment in the bus, right? I thought other moments were pretty bad with her, like when she held the PlayStation Move controller at the shark and was like, "You bastard," you know, like. It was like, is she actually upset right now? I can't tell, you know. So like, there's like weird, you know, things like that, you know, just kind of like off at times. And I think that maybe more of the editing in certain sections than actually her, because there was like weird pauses occasionally between lines and scenes that kind of like hung a little bit.
You saw the threads a little bit.
Yeah, I saw these threads where it's like, okay, like they should have reshot that or like cut it a little differently, because it actually took me out of the movie and realized I'm watching an actor doing something. And whenever I'm watching a movie and I start to realize I'm watching an actor play a character, it takes me out. And there was a lot in this movie at times that kind of made me like feel like, okay, that was a line that they delivered, right? Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
No, of course. They have to make you believe what they're doing. And if they're not, then that means they're not good enough of an actor to really sell it to
either
you.
That, or it means that
something
the
failed
editing or the
in
cut,
that moment.
Or there was something there. I'm not necessarily, because she, like in the bus, like she was great.
Yeah, she did a good job in certain places for you,
so,
but not in others.
And I liked her as a character, right? But I think some parts stood out as not great because maybe of the editing, and the same, that kind of like the worst part of it for me was just the overall story. That's the main thing for me. Like, there was not a story that, like, I liked some of the characters and stuff, but there wasn't an overall arcing story that really grabbed me.
I get it.
They're immediately there. You know, they're immediately there on the beach. They're, you know, they all get killed off. And then we see, okay, these other people get thrown into it, and then they're there, and then they're doing this. You don't really understand what's going on. All this craziness is happening. They keep cutting to all these different places, doing all these different things, and before you know it, they're in this big battle with a starfish, and it's over. And it's full of these shock value moments that grab your attention, and these funny moments here and there, but nothing enough to make me care too much for any of the characters, except for Harley.
What did you think?
Idris
That was,
Elba
that was my question. What did you think of Harley Quinn?
Great, because that's what they put a lot of focus on, right? They put a lot of focus on her. They put a lot of focus on Idris Elba, so one example. Okay, we're supposed to have this big payoff at the end, and this big feeling when Rick Flag, again, spoiler, gets killed, right? He has zero story in this movie.
Yeah, well, the first one
actually he did in the first movie, but this movie is also loosely tied to the first movie. Like they kind of allude to the fact that they know each other, but they never really go into things.
You do get to know that they know each other because, and it's if you blink you missed it, but they do have that thread because Captain Boomerang is in the first one, and in the second one he gets killed off in the first 5 minutes, and Harley's like,
upset. Yeah,
right. So she knows him.
She gets
from somewhere
on the plane or whatever. He's like, "Hey, Hal," you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is presumably a second or third mission after they did that other mission.
But if you haven't seen the first movie,
exactly.
Like
it makes no sense.
That's right. Rick Flag, even though he is the same character, he also kind of slightly acts a little different, looks a little different with the way he's styled and stuff like that. Yeah. So it's like
he's not as he used to be very straight man, and now he's a little bit less.
Yeah, he's like wearing the tight t-shirt and stuff. He's got so it's like they're portraying the character differently.
Yep.
At the same time, he's supposed to have the same ties as the first movie, which works, but they were just relying on the first movie for the payoff of him getting killed.
Sure.
Which didn't happen till late in the movie, right? So there was no thing in this movie that made me care too much for that huge moment of that when Peacemaker shoves was a glass, I think, through his heart or whatever it was.
Pretty much, I think it was.
Yeah. And so that was my issue that I had, and I'm like, my gripe is story. Okay. That's 100%. Like it's not like who they chose as the actors. It's not.
Okay.
It's not.
It's the thread that binds that you didn't like. You didn't like the whole. Together. Yeah. Okay.
And that is why I like the first movie better.
Like the first one. Okay. So now the first one, everyone complains that there was heavy editing there, and I watched the first one right before I watched the second one, and I will say, when you say that, I don't like, most people say they don't like the first one, I actually like the first one, but I see where all the issues are, because it's almost like they did so much editing that it's like little vignettes of a film rather than threading it together as they came here, they went there, they did this. It's almost like little music video that kind of connects them together. Kind of. So it seemed the first one.
I think it's like, certain things click with different people, right?
Okay.
And for some reason, like the newer movie, which I like, again, everybody, I enjoyed. Right, I enjoyed this movie. I think DC did a great job.
He enjoyed it.
I think DC did an excellent job of getting this out and then not getting in the director's way, and make him create his vision. And I think it's clicked and resonated with most people. Right. My thing is, I kind of want to. I understand the editing thing that everybody's talking about with the first one, but for me, I still love that overall story, and I thought they did a better job building a lot of the characters, because we get more of like a longer interlude to the characters at the beginning that makes you understand the motivations for each one of them. Then they're trying to get out of it the whole time, trying to figure out, okay, how can we get out of this situation? Always looking for the opportunity. And then they realize, oh shit, if we don't actually do something about this, then there ain't nothing to go back to, right? So they actually come together and do that. So I think Harley Quinn's character development was great in the first one, and I think Amanda Waller was just such a good part of the first
Amanda
movie.
Waller was respected hands down better in the first one than this one. There's no denying it.
Thought the Enchantress was just amazing in the first movie.
I will give you that. And for a lot of people who haven't seen that first movie, you're absolutely right. Like, having seen it recently before watching the second one, the big bad was far more intricate. They did a lot more,
Yeah.
a lot more there to make it,
Oh,
to make it shine.
So
I do agree with you.
They had the whole arc of like, okay, Rick Flag and June's relationship, or Amanda Waller using that to be able to get
my
Rick
only
Flag
problem with that
intrigued.
movie, my only problem with that movie is they created their own big bad, literally.
Yeah.
Like they created their own problem. The whole thing was, had they not started,
Exactly,
there would have been no film in the first place. That's the only thing I'm just like, let's skip over that real quick and go to the film. But you kind of should have not done what you did in the first place, and there would have been no issues.
Yeah,
but
and
no,
I
do agree with you that
watching it again.
yeah, editing notwithstanding, the first one gets a bad rap. I will 100% give you that.
Yeah,
give you that.
I just liked I liked the Enchantress. I liked that story. The brother, I can't even remember his name. Like I could have done with that. He didn't really even matter too much.
He basically was the enforcer. Yeah.
Yeah. But as far as like the actual story, I like how like Rick Flag had the relationship with June. Amanda Waller had actually planted that seed to be able to use him, right? And then using her, and then also she had the motivation for everybody. It kind of set all that up really well, like, and it showed how devious she was, right? In that movie.
Yes.
And the funny thing was, like, I was thinking about it, and I was thinking like Amanda Waller has a lot in common with Dr. Halsey. Right.
Yes.
From Halo.
Yes.
Because she's
doing the dirty thing for the common good. Yes.
Right.
Very much.
Like she's like, okay, I will. Would the world still exist if this evil person wasn't doing what's necessary? Like, who knows, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy to think, but like, is it necessary?
And that's
right?
what you just described there. That's why I had a problem with her in the second one. The first one, even though she's ruthless and she's ripping people apart and she'll blow your head up whenever she feels the need to, you could always get a sense that her aim was that what she's dealing with is so important that no one human being matters more than that important thing, right? Just like Halsey, right? So yeah, what she does sucks, but you can kind of get it. This time around, she's just way too much to ask for early, especially at the end when it's like, okay, the day is saved. You now know what's going on. Let's go save the day. Nah, let's leave it. Let it be their problem. Let's kill all the women and children in that country, because screw it. That won't be a problem for us anymore. That was a little too beyond the pale.
Yeah,
I think they overwrote her in that moment. That's when they jumped the shark a bit for me.
Yeah, they definitely did, and it's see the thing, and that's why you hear or you see a lot of the fans, say release the Ayer cut.
Yes.
Because there's so much that I guess there was into that they cut out. That kind of that's why it, like
that
the first
might flesh out that first story. Yep.
So it's like if they did it with the Zack Snyder cut with Justice League, and why not?
Now, what did you think of that? Not to digress too far.
I loved it. Me personally, I loved it.
So did you like the first one and did you hate the first one and like this one? Or
the first one was okay,
but
this one was all the great parts that I liked in the first one was Zack Snyder's cuts. So I was like, okay, so the stuff that I didn't like, I can see that was Josh Whedon's touch, and the things that I did like is Zack Snyder's, and that's why I was like,
no, I hear you. Okay,
and
I guess one last question. I guess I'll ask based on this show though. You guys know that there's a Peacemaker show coming, right?
Oh, really?
No, I did not hear about that.
Oh, okay. So I guess I'm blowing y'all minds now. Did you see the end credit scene?
Or?
Yes.
The end credit scene. They're bringing Peacemaker. Peacemaker will have his own show. And my question is, I knew that going into this film without knowing what the whole situation was, and then after I was done, I'm like, I don't think I want to watch that show now. After everything that he does, like I don't think I want to see that.
I know.
Yes, he's gonna have his own show. Yeah.
Okay.
So what do you think about that, Mav? Like, you're seeing this
he
fresh
was hilarious.
eyes.
So like I liked the character a lot until the end of the movie.
until the end, and then they broke everybody's heart with it, right?
Yeah, he killed Rick Flag, and then he just you see that he really will just do whatever they tell him to.
He's just psychotic douchebag. That's right.
That's it. That's I mean, he has it takes a lot of the character away from me. Right?
Yes,
because if he was more like had that battle within himself and you could see that more or something, you know, like come out or has some remorse, but no, he just like keeps going and he almost kills somebody else, you know, he tries to go after her next, the rat catcher.
Especially when she goes, why don't you just take the evidence and leave me alive, you know, problem solved, because I'm thorough, like
I'm thorough, like yo, no,
like, get out of here with that.
Yeah, but I do like how they were implementing like the next cutscenes with the element like written out in certain, like, you know, on the beach it says now, and then the Harley Quinn,
how it's part of the scene. Very cool. Very what's the video game? Come on now, the video game that everybody wants that never freaking Ubisoft will never make again. Come on, Mav, help me out here.
Splinter Cell.
Yes, very Splinter Cell. The last Splinter Cell I played was exactly that. They had literally like the scenes in the walls. You're walking past and it says the Alamo, and it's like on the wall. Conviction had that exactly. Very much that. Yes.
They did a cool. So they did a lot of like artistic stuff with the movie. Like there's a lot. Like I said, like all of this stuff was amazing. Like it was like exactly what you want from this type of movie. Except just that I didn't have the cohesive like story that made me care enough about it, right? Like that's the one thing, which it makes sense. Like the first one had that because it was darker, right? It was like it was darker, and they were kind of going in this more like gritty, right, type style. And this one is more like colorful and like comic-y, you know, like
more Guardians of the Galaxy style.
Yeah, more exactly, upbeat. Which is great. I'm not like 100%. I love that.
One last thread there. Yeah. So with that information, last piece of meta, they are now talking about turning James Gunn into the Kevin Feige of the DCEU. Seeing this, what do you think of that?
I if that happens, I would be happy.
Yeah, you think he's good? I'm a little worried about that. Not that I dislike his movie, or I love Guardians of the Galaxy. I love this movie. It's just it seems like his signature is a little too much of a signature.
Yeah,
like it's very much his signature. I'm afraid he's going to turn all the movies just like this.
The one thing
he can't have any serious movies.
Is here's my thinking with this. Okay, he does have that strong signature and stuff. But if you watch all of the MCU movies, even though the ones that are completely different, they all have the common, like they feel.
They all have a common.
There's a signature. There's a signature there. Yes. The other thing is that if you're going to put somebody at that role, right, like Kevin Feige, because Kevin Feige has proven himself, right? Time and time again.
For sure. Like he's the magic man.
He's created this like thing that's never been done in movies before, right? Yep. If you're trying to recreate something like that, then you need somebody that has proven themselves with more than one franchise, right? And also, is into the comics and is going to stay true to the comics. And secondly, DC just really, really needs to get somebody in that role, right?
Yeah, it really needs them.
Like, it's like, at what point? Okay, how picky are we gonna be here? Because they need to get shit together with getting this common thread going, right? Because the extended universe is not so much right now. It's more of just a randomness, right? So if they do get that going. I don't know much like about what his future plans with that would be, or like what their plans with it would be, what that means for the other franchises they have with DC moving forward. But
all the various Batmen.
that is the strength of the MCU that it has been.
Yeah.
But DC, if they were to take that and flip it, and it could become, with what's going on with some of the stuff at Marvel potentially, it could flip in the next 20 years. And you could see like DC become the one that has everything together with this huge extended universe, right? Who knows? It would be a crazy world to live in, but you know, like we were talking before we went live here about some of the potential changes at Marvel, and we've addressed some of those concerns too, with like how them saying we're only going to do short-term contracts, right? How they are going to have this whole multiverse thing now where you have who knows, like, is it not important to have this actor locked up because they know they can go to somebody else and just have the other version of them now, right? Like they could if things get too crazy and over the top, it could lose itself a little bit, whereas now DC could potentially start things more from a fresher perspective. But when you got to start here's the catch with that. I know I keep rambling, sorry, but
no, yeah. Stream of consciousness, go.
Here's the catch with that. Is James Gunn has now already made Suicide Squad, right? That's not a starter movie, right? Okay, Marvel started this with Iron Man, and they built upon that, right? Time
they had patience, they had time.
After movie after movie.
Yes.
And the thing that Psycho has kept alluding to with DC is they kept trying to skip steps, right?
They want to get to the big bang before they want to get to that movie with all of them together before they even had separate movies to introduce them.
They want that crescendo before they
that's right. Yes.
In my opinion, the way
it's not earned.
Done this properly, if they really had wanted to do it properly, 100%, okay, they would have had the foresight to start this all off with Wonder Woman as the very first movie because of the timeline, right?
Yeah, because she's the oldest of them.
Yeah, you have her, come in at like World War II or one? I don't remember.
Two. I think it was two. Yeah.
And you have her come in there. Then you bring in the next movie where you have somebody else, like let's say Superman. Superman. Origin, right? Like you keep building movie to movie.
Unfortunately, they don't live in a vacuum. While they're doing this, the MCU's on across the street making $1 billion per film. So they're like, screw that. Let's cut to the chase, and there we go. Unfortunately, I agree with you though, 100%. But also to Marvel, to DC's defense a little bit, when Marvel started that. Even after Iron Man 1, they didn't have the MCU. They didn't even know they were doing that. It was basically the idea of that small end credit scene that turned into this monstrous thing.
They have this thing.
They fell into it.
It's on the Disney Plus. There's this thing where they talk about the origin of the MCU, right? Where they had started the Marvel Studios, and they wanted to start with let's do like, I think it was 3 movies, right? They said they had 3 movies planned and to see how they could do it, right? And if it works, and if it was going to work,
they got tired of everybody else screwing up their movies and wanted to do it right for once.
That's what they did, but that's what it takes. Like they had the foresight at least to start from somewhere, right? If it works out, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah. And that's what's wrong with DC. DC let everything in Warner Brothers' hands, and Warner Brothers just like we'll make billions, and they're not. And they're like, DC needs to step in and be like, listen, we let you use our IPs, our franchises, do right, or we'll find somebody else.
True. Yeah.
And
I will say one thing though, real quick, because I see your logo behind there with the actual logo with all the guys. Polka Dot Man was my favorite.
He was great. Right. He was hilarious.
He shouldn't have been good. It shouldn't have worked. 'Cause it's a terrible character, even in the comics. But man, did Gunn write the hell out of him? Yeah. So good, so good. And the actor to play him was also brilliant. Yes, dude. Yes, the actor who played him was also brilliant. It was just really good. He was one of the highlights.
You say all the characters as his mom was fucking awesome.
Yes, so crazy.
Yeah, when Starro became his mom, I was like, no, it was great.
And they literally took a piece of crap character, like a know-nothing character, and they made it so endearing and. The graphics they used on his face when he was hurling all the very cool. You know, they did a good job. They really did.
Yeah.
So let it not be known, let it not be said that we're just like, you know, dumping on this movie. There were some really good
Yeah.
parts to it. There are some
Oh,
really, really good parts to it.
I think one of my favorite parts is when they're going through the camp and they're killing all the freedom fighters, but they don't know it's the freedom fighters. So you know, you got Peacemaker and he's sitting there and he's stabbing that dude on the that's the guy that's sleeping, and they're just doing all this stuff, and then they're like, why didn't my and they see Flag sitting there with the chick, and they say, oh yeah, this is you know, these are the freedom fighters on our side, and they're like,
Absolutely
oh,
nuts.
That was hilarious, dude. That
you
was
see their
the
face
cool-
like, oh.
That was the funniest thing in the movie. That's actually my favorite scene because it not only like that actually was like, it's talk about story wise, it's like a story within itself, like that one scene, because okay, they're there on a mission, they think they're doing this one thing the whole time while you're distracted because you're only paying attention to the fact that their two jokers are having a competition with each other on who could kill somebody the coolest way, right? And even you have like some of the funniest dialogue there where like John Cena is like, unless it's dope as fuck, you know, and he's like,
and he's like,
I
yeah, I guess
"Damn
that's
it,
true.
that's true." You know, it's so great.
Terrible.
Yeah, you know, and
Absolutely
you got like
terrible.
the guy getting his dick shot off, and you know, you got I mean, just like just crazy over the top stuff where it's actually funny to watch, right? And it's like the movie at that time is almost making fun of itself, right? It's like self-aware in a way, but it's also like it makes you enjoy the characters, right? So I actually really like that scene, but then to even put that extra twist on it, and then he's just hanging out, you know, like you said, Psycho, and then they're like, oh yeah, these were the good guys. You're like, oh shit, that's fucking great. That was an amazing
Freaking
scene.
ridiculous.
Well, and then even the rat like joined in. He was like, you know, doing this little squeaks and stuff. I was just like,
they're great.
And that's the one good thing with James Gunn. If he's gonna take that helm, now they're gonna get other. And the issue with DC and Warner Brothers movies is that they start with a director and lose them because of either conflicts or something. Now with James Gunn being at the helm there, like kind of like what Chris Nolan kind of was, it should show other directors that, okay, if we're gonna make a DC movie, you know, people might stay and not just flee. You know, and maybe we'll see more from Zack Snyder.
I think it's because what's his face, Gunn is being given the bag, as they say. You know, like you know that Kevin Feige is doing magic over there at Marvel, right? And they need someone, and he's worked with Kevin, right? They need someone on that level to be able to handle it. So they're like, you know, you're his understudy. Please take the big bag. Just take it. You know, stay here and keep working for us.
And that would make a lot of sense because, you know, James Gunn and Disney also hadn't had the best of relationships. He's only back there to do Suicide, to do Guardians 3 because the cast pretty much.
And that's what, 2025 or something like that? Crazy number.
Yeah. So
no.
But I think it's 2023.
2024. It's around that time.
Was that? You sure? Because I've lost a thread at this point since the pandemic delays. There's been a lot
of been announced that far ahead. I think all of them are within the next couple of years that they've announced.
Couple of years. Okay.
Shout out to Papa Woody with a $5 super chat. Thank you, sir. Just saying here to show some love. Well, thanks, dude. Super appreciate that, Papa. I hope you're enjoying yourself here in the chat. So guys. Also, don't forget to like and share this out. Sub to the channel if you're new here. Started this show with six down likes. That's crazy. Somebody has it out for us tonight. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
It always amazes me how people have that time on their hands. But thank you guys for stopping by to hit that button. I know I'm going to get more after this though because of the Suicide Squad thoughts.
Your Suicide Squad thoughts weren't bad. You said you enjoyed the movie, but it had some plot point issues.
In fact, like I said, I like all these movies. I'm just trying to think.
What is your score out of 10?
I'll give it like a 7.
There you go.
It's
That's
like-
not bad at all. I gave it a 7.5, and I liked it. So there you go.
Yeah,
I'd
for
give
me,
it an 8.
I would give the first one an 8.
Okay.
Just it's weird. Like, I don't know. So like certain things a lot of people hate, and I'm like, oh, I actually really like. I've liked all the DC movies. This is actually like weird because this is the one everybody's liking, and it's like the one like, oh,
And
I
the
like
one that
it,
you don't
but
like.
it just. I think I'm part of it too. I think from DC, I've gotten more used to that darker, grittier tone. And that's kind of mentally kind of going in when I'm expecting like this more serious story going into a DC movie.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was too James
this was
Gunny
a Marvel
for you
movie
at that time.
This was a Marvel movie, but it didn't have that buildup of the story that the Marvel movies have.
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of like it was I felt weird watching it. It's like a little out of place, you know.
So let me take your temperature real quick. What did you think of Black Widow?
I really liked Black Widow.
So what would you give it? What score would you give that?
8. An 8.
So if this is a 7, that's an 8.
Yeah.
And your score is a 0.5 difference in between. So there you go.
Yeah.
It's not that
I'm
bad.
not overly critical on a lot of things. Like I enjoy this stuff, but like for me, like I'm seeing everybody say this is the movie of the year, and I'm like, okay, well, I had some issues with it here and there, right? Like, and this is like to me, I think it had some glaring weaknesses that I think keep it from being that good for me. Like it's a good movie, but it's not that level. Now if it could manage like they did it with Guardians, right? If they could manage to have more heart with the story, like more of an overarching story, but still keep a lot of these things in place, right? Then I would care more. But what Guardians did is it really made me deeply care about the individual characters, right? And in this, it's like they don't want you to because they're going to kill them off, right? So it's it's like the overall.
And your man
thing.
3-bit seems to agree. He's in the chat. 7.5 on both.
Yeah.
Suicide Squad and Black Widow. So there you go. We're all around the same. Our opinions seem to diverge a bit here and there, but we're all about the same.
My wife
level.
hates this movie.
You know. Yeah, so she'd be like a 4,
maybe even lower. She thought it was
okay.
Yeah.
See, now that I would like to hear. I want to hear more like passionate opinions.
We'll get some of her thoughts next week, probably. I'm afraid of letting her speak on this because she's not. She's
gonna go scorched her.
Yeah, I mean, she said there she goes. She's in the chat. She says 3. She give it a 3.
There you go. Yeah. See, I want to hear somebody rip it apart. Yeah.
She thought it was stupid. She thought it was dumb. She especially hated the starfish. You know, I will
can
say
see that.
like
it's a very comic booky movie. You know, if you're not really into that deep comic book lore,
if you go back and
ridiculous.
Like I went back and looked at Starro in the comics, right, to see what did he look like? Like they really cartoonized him here compared to even what they did in the comics, where like he did look a little bit more like a starfish and not like a cartoony bubbly starfish. So they really went like zany with it here. With
but they also went even
and
more gore with him, because in the original Starro, you could take off the little starfish pods and then you'd be back to normal dude, just peace out. This one, they take it off and all that's left is a star skin, like from where it used to be, like terrible. Like
they ate away
that
at
scene
his
too,
face.
in the lab where like the Thinker had been doing all the experiments with the starfish people, right? Oh, and you see like people with like just starfish coming off their body, like, and they're just it's just freaking crazy,
psychotic,
man.
you know.
Yeah,
I see your wife in the chat going. She's sad that her man Idris was in it. Don't worry about Idris Elba. To me, Idris is like Sam Jackson 2.0. He can be in the worst film and he will be cool every time.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what crappy film he's in. He's always looking good, you know. And
so
he's collecting
something
the
else
check.
I just thought about. What was the point of the Thinker in this movie?
To control Starro. That's what he
But he
said.
did
that he did.
in this movie.
Well, I think a lot of his knobs got knocked off.
His knobs got knocked off.
Whatever.
I mean,
the thing's just sticking out his head.
I understand the point of him as a character in
but he really didn't do anything.
In this movie, he didn't do shit.
Yeah.
And he
really
just walked
didn't do
around and was
anything.
like, "Hi, I'm the thinker, and I have things on my head." And
And you
take
can
me
tell
from-
he's a thinker because of his head.
yeah, kidnap me
That's
because
about
I'm
it.
important, and that's
Yeah.
all you need to know is that I'm important.
Unless that was his gimmick to be
You know?
importance in the where he
Mhm.
was in that village. When I did like when Harley Quinn killed the Presidente.
Yeah.
Because she's like, I know guys like you. It's like if I fell in love and I've seen red flags, then killing kids is a red flag.
Yeah.
That was great.
So my question, another thread that I want answered, you know, they went through Polka Dot Man. Hey, why did you get those polka dots? Where are they from?
Mhm.
How about we talk about the fact that this man can turn pieces of his body into any kind of weapon on Earth, and they didn't even say anything about it. Like he could just turn, like he could like bring down like starships with just pieces of parts of his damn body. Like they just let that one just slide, you know, where he got it from, what it's made of, why he
Well,
can
It
do
was
that.
an interdimensional virus.
Yeah.
No, I'm not Polka Dot Man. I'm talking
Oh,
about
okay.
they did a good job with Polka Dot Man.
Yeah.
I'm actually talking about Bloodshot. Like,
Oh,
you know, look at all his
Yeah.
stuff. He had some very unique things there.
yeah.
His weapon
one
that he
said
was
anything
piecing
about it.
together. Yeah, it was
That's
just
right,
getting
you know.
bigger and
Sick.
bigger. I'm like,
Bigger and crazy. I'm like, this is some cool stuff. Where did he get it from?
Yeah.
Why is he so good? Even though he's the greatest marksman in the world, there has to be a story as to why he has this weapon that no one else has.
Yeah.
I mean, look at
Um,
Peacemaker. He's just got a gun. Like, what's up?
Yeah. Unless they set this up and they're going to have individual, like maybe shows or something
Mm,
of
I
the
hope so.
characters
give him some respect.
and
You know.
to build and start to build up this
Yeah.
DCU and that way instead of you doing it how
That'd be a
Marvel
smart
did it.
plan. Yeah, that'd be a very smart plan. You build it on the TV shows, and then the movies will be your that would actually do that. You're absolutely right. And then they could like fast track it a little bit. Those who want to have that backstory can have that, and then
Yeah.
those who want the bombastic show can have that as well.
That's
Exactly.
a good
Interesting
that's a good
plan,
thought,
yeah.
Psycho. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
That would
that's-
allow them to skip some steps.
Mhm.
Yes. And
Rather
then,
than don't worry about it. We'll tell you in the cutscenes.
Yeah.
Get out
Because
of
that's the
here.
magic of those shows is you do get
Mhm.
such more deep insight to the characters,
Mhm.
right? That's
Well,
what MCU's doing, and it would
Yeah.
make a lot of sense. Like The Mandalorian is my favorite Star Wars thing, period. Right?
Yeah.
Just because of that kind of stuff. Like I really love the
How,
character.
how did you feel about Rogue One again? I have to double check. What are you on Rogue One?
I liked Rogue One.
I loved
And
it.
Matt, how are
Yeah,
you?
I loved Rogue One. It's actually I have really bad Star Wars takes as well.
Oh, I was about to
I
tell you.
have
I was
to
about
be-
to tell you. I think it's my favorite Star Wars movie. Rogue
Yeah.
One is my favorite.
It's
Why?
it's my
Because it's got
second.
nothing to do with any of the lightsaber
Yeah.
toting. Yes, that's why I like it so much,
So-
and that's why I'm so excited about that new manga coming out with Star Wars as well, because it's got nothing to do with the Skywalkers.
yeah.
It's somewhere off in a different part of the galaxy. I really liked Rogue One. What were you gonna say?
Star Wars, the Mandalorian series is
Mm.
my favorite Star Wars thing, period, so far.
Okay.
Rogue One is my
Mhm.
third favorite Star Wars thing.
Okay. What's the
so far.
second?
I don't want to tell you.
Solo? Come on, tell me it's Solo.
It's Solo.
Of course, it's Solo.
Yeah,
I
it's
didn't
Solo.
hate Solo. I didn't hate Solo, but again, I'm the kind of guy who can find the fun in anything. I know people who are like violently against that film.
Oh yeah,
I didn't think it
like
was that
Pong,
bad.
our buddy Pong Soul is
Yeah.
like,
Yes, of
yeah.
course.
I'm not a fan of Solo, but it was.
Mhm.
I
It
mean,
was full of some BS. The thing that ruined it was the definition of his name. Come on, you should have just left that out of it. That moment right there made any kind of Star Wars fan, if you were a real Star Wars fan, you must then hate this movie because of that scene,
yeah.
which they should have taken out. But besides that, it was fun. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
I
love
just
the
like
robot.
A lot of different things about, like, it's just a fun movie to watch, right? Like,
Yeah, it's
I'm
fun.
an Adam Sandler fan. I don't take these things too seriously, right? Like,
There you go. Okay.
I like a good story, but I also like just a fun popcorn movie, right?
Yeah,
and that's
exactly,
and that's
exactly.
what Suicide Squad was for me, is a fun popcorn movie, right?
mhm.
It was
Yeah.
it didn't achieve that like Shawshank Redemption story, right, or something. You know what I mean? It wasn't like a masterpiece, but it was a fun popcorn movie. But it had a lot of great moments. For me, what was the movie? Solo. Had a good story with it, like actually, but it also was a fun popcorn movie at the same time.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just an enjoyable experience, taking everything out of the equation, because I know that there's things that Star Wars fans absolutely hate about the movie, but for me, going in, like, I'm a casual Star Wars fan. Like I like Star Wars, but I'm not like a diehard like Star Wars fan. Like I feel like, for example, X Defiant. If this is like, if Solo is the Star Wars version of X Defiant, of what they're doing to the Clancy brand, I get it, guys. Okay, but for me, it's like, for me, it's not that. It's still stated true enough to right.
You pretty much summed it up.
I get it.
You summed it up.
You gave it a bad label. Wow, X Defiant. Wow. Ooh,
I mean, for me, like, it's not that. It's, for me, it's like it fits within, like, it fits. But that
is one step down from almost down to Duke Nukem Forever. Like,
I think for Pong Soul, it like is the X Defiant of Star Wars, right?
I can see that. I can see people thinking that. But see, okay, so and I'm sure Pong may see this at some point. It's good that I'm here, so I can give even hotter takes that makes your takes not seem so hot. Okay. If you've ever read these, there are some documentaries you can watch. There's some like books you can read about it, like their robes, things like. I think people take Star Wars a little too seriously. Like, you know, they've taken all this very, very seriously along the way. There's conversations that the robes they had on Tatooine, that was there to blend in. It was never meant to be Star Wars Jedi robes. They were there to blend in. But because people took it so seriously, now from then on, it became canon. You know, it's not that serious, but people have taken it so seriously, so that now we can't go off and diverge into different interesting places. You know, I don't know if you saw that the anime that they're working on that may come with I'm so excited for that, because it spells a complete departure from anything we're used to in the Star Wars universe. And I too think The Mandalorian is one of the best things that's happened to Star Wars. If you haven't watched The Bad Batch, it's also from Dave Filoni, who it's really good. Like, it's good, you know. So
I was like on the fence, because I'm not a big fan of the art style, right? It's just like a little too like big head mode for me, like that kind of stuff, you know. But
it shows its budget.
Right. Going into it, the story got me enough, right, to make me forget about that, right? So but speaking of
Star Wars vision,
speaking of art style, another Disney Plus show, What If has some pretty good art style. That's not going to be a huge topic for us this week, because we got some other stuff to talk about, but y'all have, I guess, had a chance to watch it, or just art style wise, like I feel like they kind of nailed it with that kind of stuff. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, the second episode solidified it for me. I've seen this art style there was an old French movie that I watched, that the whole movie was like this cell shaded kind of style, and it was interesting. It was like a film in the 90s. I keep trying to remember the name of it, but I can't. But like the first one, I loved Captain Carter. Like, capital L. I'm one of those stands that like watched all of Agent Carter, the show. Loved her as Agent Carter. I think they didn't do her right when the MCU became big. She should have taken her with her. So I think this whole What If Captain Carter thing kind of is a step in the right direction to giving her the respect she deserves, in my opinion, because I think she did really good work there. But I say that to say, when she was in action, it was great. But when she was sitting there chatting normal, the animation made it feel a little weird. You know, it seemed to me it lends itself better to action scenes than it does to, you know, your normal MCU kind of hang around banter kind of thing. But in the second episode, it was just, I'm completely biased. Let the record show. I was just there to hang out with these people. You know, from the moment he saw Star-Lord and lost his mind, I lost my mind, and I was just there with them the whole time. It was just awesome, the whole thing. You know, don't expect any critique from me when it comes to this episode. I was just there to watch Chadwick Boseman's last performance, and it was amazing. And the whole thing just made me go, man, if we only had that, like a full version of that, that would be so cool. You know, he had that charisma and charm. It was just awesome. I loved it. Yeah, I thought it was so good.
Were you thinking of Titan AE?
I think it's the same production company that made Titan AE that made that this film I'm talking about. But yes, it's very cell shaded. The problem is they're walking there. Some of their animation style is not natural when they're not in like actual action motion, you know. But today, this episode, I didn't feel as much of that as I did the first time, the first episode. Even though I like them both, I think they're both absolutely great. And if this is where we're headed as far as What If, you know, more please, you know, make it better, make it more, give us big, huge versions of it. Keep it all animated. I don't care. It's great.
I like the intro too. Like it gives me like this Twilight Zone feel, like the Watcher.
Yeah,
very much.
Cool.
Yes,
the Watcher.
Yes, and they picked a great actor to be the Watcher. You know, the voice of it. Absolutely awesome. So you know, I'm there for it every week.
Yeah, and interesting with What If, they are going to take some of the episodes and make canon. So we will see.
I hear that. I hear that there might be Captain Carter. I'm like Captain so Carter. Excited. Oh, I'm looking forward to that. That'd
zombie awesome. Iron Man, zombie Captain America. So what, you know, could we see a Doctor Strange? The couple episodes are going to be coming out. So it's interesting how, you know, like I was telling Mav, we were just talking in I think a party chat about this, and I think this is possibly a good way to introduce like the mutants and X-Men.
Yes,
because
100%.
we don't see X-Men, or we don't see mutants right now, other than Scarlet Witch is pretty much the first, we just say mutant out of all of them, because you know, her powers were kind of she was born with them, so she wasn't like given to her, kind of like Doctor Strange and you know, Hulk and all them. So
it will be interesting to see how Feige actually threads that mutant needle, like how he really does that, because there's been many opportunities where he could have done it and he's let it slide. So now it's like, so how is he gonna? Because it will be absolutely different than what Marvel, than what the comics have established. It will be very different. You know, so I wonder where he goes with it. You know, it'll be very interesting to see.
Because in the comics, Scarlet Witch ends the mutants and strips their powers. So that's why I was thinking in like possibly Spider-Man Far From Home, that poster that we see this red glow around it. Could that have been the hexagon that she engulfs the planet and turns, instead of removing mutant powers,
giving it back?
Because Photon or Monica Rambeau got her powers because going through the hexagon. Can we start? Could that happen? And that's how they're going to introduce.
See, and I hear you, and that is very interesting. The only part that I push back on a little bit on that is Feige so far has proven to be very reluctant to go as complicated as comics actually get. You know, like comics tend to be very windy, and then he'll strip out all the stuff and make it straight line, like what he did with Taskmaster that everybody hated. I thought it made perfect sense in the context of the film. How are you going to explain, oh, he's Taskmaster, there's a dude and he can mimic it because he has powers, and it makes no sense. Right in the film, in the now, I understand why people can hate it. I understand they're disrespecting the Taskmaster character. You know, all Taskmaster purists, don't come and throw hate at me. I get where you're coming from, but in the context of the film, you know, straight line. You killed her kid grew up, he turned her into a robot, and now she hates, you know, and she's fighting against you. There was still some threads that needed to be cleaned up, but that's what he does. He likes the straight through line so that if you don't happen to have that history, it doesn't bother you. You still get exactly what you're supposed to get and keep it moving. I'm not sure he'll be ready to go through the whole, you know, she gives them I mean, I would rather see him possibly go, well, it's the multiverse, and there's a universe in which mutants exist, and now we're slamming them together, and now the mutants are in the world. Like a very simple explanation, rather than she create. You know what I'm saying? Because comics tend to get complicated, and I don't know if he'll do that or not. You know?
Yeah, I only thought that with the multiverse, because the multiverse is now branching out and things are being altered, like we saw at the end of Loki. Because he went back to the wherever it was. I forget what it's called.
Yeah, the TVA or whatever, and they didn't even
TVA.
recognize him. Yep.
Yeah, and they didn't know him. So like,
Mhm.
is did he go back in the same timeline, but now it's altered?
And
So
now it's
that's
altered
what.
because he's gone. That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
So now it seems like things are almost not straight.
Yeah, there is
point A
no
to point
line.
B.
There is no line to go back to anymore because it's been altered too
So-
far. Yeah.
So now that's possibly things he could maybe take that weaving route a little bit, but not over the top, but just a tiny bit possibly with
Yeah.
mutants. But
Yeah.
we'll see.
I hope that this all works out because the pandemic has really thrown a wrench into a lot of these really grand
yeah.
plans. We should have seen a lot of these things already come out and play out, and we should have been a bunch of steps further by now. But unfortunately,
Yes.
because of the old T virus, we're kind of postponed a little bit.
Yeah.
But we shall.
Yeah.
I know. 'cause
That kind of hurt the time with
Black-
Black Widow. Yeah.
Black Widow was supposed to be out last year. Same thing with WandaVision.
I don't think
Yep.
it hit the same way they had intended to, also because of that. And
Yep.
speaking of the Taskmaster, I just have to go back to this because you reminded
Please,
me of
please,
something.
yes.
No, this is not. I don't really care about the whole Taskmaster thing because honestly, for me, like you guys know. I was never super into the comics. I was more into the cartoons and TV
Sure.
shows and movies, right? So the Taskmaster, it never has really been represented great in a lot of that stuff. Maybe in some of the cartoons,
Yeah,
but
he's usually very one-sided, very
but
much
they,
henchman
They
mode.
never really
That's it.
go deep into the person that the Taskmaster is. It's always just somebody that's there and that can do all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
At least from everything I've seen. Now, so this they created more of an identity for the Taskmaster by doing this. But what threw it off for me wasn't the actual Taskmasters themselves, which I'm curious what the future of that character is going to be because they're free now and they're out there in the world,
exactly.
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
But where it threw it off for me was Black Widow back in Budapest and blowing up that building with the girl inside. Because for me, everything we've learned about Black Widow as a character would never have done that.
Well, but remember, they're saying that she's reformed, right? In the beginning, they even said that she used to be hard ass.
This was her defecting, right? This was her already having made that moral decision to leave. So you're making that moral decision not to assassinate people anymore by assassinating a child.
Yeah.
It just seemed like it was like out of character from the Black Widow that we have come to know, and it almost seemed as an easy way to make people like the character a little bit less and become easier to move on from that version of the Black Widow, knowing that she has this like huge character flaw, and then I found out that they had alluded to this several times with her ledger, right?
With the red ledger. That's right.
And all
multiple
of that stuff.
times.
And I'm like, okay. Yeah, I guess they had already been alluding to this and they really were trying to make it impactful about why it was such a big deal to her. So it makes more sense if you think about it in that way. But in the moment watching the movie, it's just really hard to.
It was a little bit out of character.
It was just like, man, this is out of place to see her make that decision now. And then it comes across like it's only for the purpose of making that the villain. Right? Where, okay, we're going to have this character do something absolutely horrible and out of character just for the sake of having a villain, right? Like that. I didn't see. I didn't
and
like that,
and you're absolutely right. Right there, what you're describing right there. To take it even further, they create the villain. Okay, you've created the villain, but then you don't take it all the way, and then you like hedge your bets and go, "Oh, they put a chip in the back of her head." That's so dumb.
Yeah.
We were talking about this on the show with Everborn as well. Like, if you created that villain, she blew you up. You have revenge in your heart for her, right? That should be enough of a motivation. Why would then you have to add the whole idea of, well, then her father chipped her back of her head, so now she's like a robot that's like engineered to fight? No, she should just hate you because you blew her up when she was a kid. That should just be enough, right? That ruined it a little bit for me. And then they turned her into a male robot, which is weird. They never explained why her body was very male-like instead of female. There were some threads there they didn't explain, but by and large, I think the story worked. It just seems that, at least specifically that story, it seemed like it's an artifact of its time. Like they should have released it back when Like it should have been made and released in between the time frame chronologically it belongs, before Endgame and all of that happened. It would have probably been better received at that time, I suspect.
Yeah, I just think they kind of like, I don't know. It seems like a lot of things with this movie, they didn't do like Scarlett Johansson justice, right? I like the movie. I love the movie because the other Black Widow, the future Black Widow, forget it, Florence Pugh. What was her name? Yelena.
Yelena Belova.
Yeah, Yelena. Like she was great. But it seems like they were purposefully like setting that stage.
Oh yeah, they're grooming her to set her up to
like, okay, you're gonna replace ScarJo, and then it comes down to like, okay, we're now there's the contract thing. You're like, did they really maybe not even care because they maybe aren't planning on bringing her back anyway? So it's like, well, you know what? If she's not gonna be the Black Widow in the future anyway, it doesn't really matter. We can just try and skate by with this contract thing. And a lot of people I think out there like immediately blame her. Right, with she's suing Disney for money, right? All this stuff, but then it comes out, well, okay, maybe there was some kind of stuff going on with Disney and some of their decisions with this that seemed kind of dishonest,
yes, that's right.
And then you get the news about
they're doing a little bit of that Square Enix magic on the
right. And then they get that news
that's
about
right.
Okay, they're only doing shorter term contracts now with actors.
That's right.
Very few long term deals, except for
they're not going to hire any more big name actors anymore. Everybody's going to be a no name face, so they'll take the small money because they just want to be put on. Yeah, there's a lot of new faces coming from Disney. Don't get me wrong, I am super excited for it because they're gonna do the whole Wakanda thing, which is gonna be really cool. They're gonna do Ironheart, which I'm looking for. They're doing a bunch of really cool stuff.
Moon Knight,
which is gonna kick major butt.
Yeah.
I'm like excited for that.
Shang Chi is gonna nail it too.
Oh,
like what they're doing is, I'm not saying it's not gonna work.
Are you sure about the Shang Chi? Let's diverge real quick on that one, okay? Mulan came out, and it was like the same critics that gave it the yay review are also out there right now doing the same song and dance backflips, okay? And I'm excited as hell to see Shang-Chi. I really am. I'm looking forward to it. I hope it's as great as everybody says it is. But ultimately, when Mulan was said and done, like the best criticism I heard from it was from an Asian friend of mine who said, you guys think it tastes real good, and you guys make you to us it's like American Chinese food. Y'all think that's what we eat in China, but that's not really what we eat in China. Right. That's what they thought of Mulan. I'm afraid this will turn into that. I hope it's not. I hope it's authentic and good, like they say it is.
Because I've been following Shang-Chi a little bit, and the actor went to a screening with all Asian audience, and it got a standing ovation.
Cool.
So and he showed his parents.
Was it at a premiere event or?
I believe so. And he showed his parents the Chinese poster of the movie, and they were so proud of him, and he brought tears to his eyes. So it's like they're doing it right. Yes, and he's like, I feel proud to be a Chinese American doing this movie, getting it and it's the right portrayal. Because a lot of, in cinema
I hope so,
history,
because I really hope it works for them. It just like Black Panther was a big deal to African Americans. I have my issues with Black Panther. I will not start them on this show, but that's fine. But yes, it was a big deal. It was a big deal to many people. It's the same problem I have with the game that just came out. Them damn crappy accents. But I'm African, so that's neither here nor there. Them crappy accents. You heard me. I said it. The accents suck. Y'all need to stop it. Let's keep it. Even Chris Judge, terrible. I digress. Anyway, but yes, I hope the Asian community can stand behind it, and that it gives them exactly what they want. I want a really, really, just like Black Panther, it was riddled with racist stuff in the old school comics. So was Shang-Chi riddled with racist stuff in the old school comics. So I'm hoping they really get out there and they give it, the respect that it deserves,
Yeah. Even Marvel back when they were doing comics, a lot of the Asian characters were portrayed racially.
Mhm.
I mean, because they got the big teeth and the squinty eye. And it was just it was just bad, and it was just like it's like they're like, okay, we need to do it right, and I hope
Yeah,
you
me
know
too. Me too.
want
You know.
Wakanda Forever, they do the things
Yeah.
right, and
Yeah, me too. Me
Shang
too. Yeah.
Chi, they do this right
Do
too.
it right, make it entertaining, let the people who are so well invested in it, feel like it was worth their time. I really hope it's good. I do hear all the reviews and people are glowing, OMG, not since The Raid has there been such a film. I'm like, The Raid, them's big shoes to fill, man.
Well, this actor, like, he's like been in hardly anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. So like to your point, like, they're going out and getting different people, which like we talked about this before. I was like a little concerned about this kind of thing, but just because like before, like we had the comfort of knowing, okay, Chris Evans was going to be Captain America for a long time, that Robert Downey Jr. was going to be Iron Man for a long time, that Scarlett Johansson was going to be Black Widow for a long time, all of these things. And it gave you this piece of like, this thing is going to keep going. And it gave you that confidence with that, that what you were enjoying is going to continue. So that's what has been kind of in the back of my mind
for you.
With this now, it's like, hey, we're staying nimble, we're staying on the fly, so we can do what we need to do, is kind of like what they're doing. But as long as they do keep putting forth good stuff and they treat people properly and they make good deals, and it doesn't mean that there aren't going to be characters keep coming back. It just means that they're not locked into long-term deals. So
think of it this way: you actually might get exactly what you want. The reason why they were having issues with the original roster of the MCU is because they were those names that you recognize, and they became too expensive. Right. So now they're opting for names that you don't recognize and hoping that those guys are very talented, guys and gals are very talented. And if they are, they're going to last a long time, because by the time they become the next Chris Evans, they're maybe 14, 15 movies in, because they started them young. You know what I mean? Like Miss Marvel and the rest of them. I'm hoping that's what happens. You know?
The other thing is, they're choosing the characters based on if they fit the character as well, not just based on names. Although, they did such a great job the last time, even with the big names. Like, man, Robert Downey Jr. is a perfect Iron Man, right? Chris Evans,
you couldn't have found him more perfect.
Yeah, it's like Scarlett Johansson was a perfect Black Widow, like,
indeed.
And I think everybody's so ready to move on from her for some reason, because they liked Florence Pugh in this, but like, man, she portrayed that character like perfectly for a long time.
Well, very well.
They just didn't give her as much of the lines and roles in the actual Black Widow movie, because they were trying to move people on. They wanted you to fall in love with this new Black Widow, right? Which they did, and they did a great job with it.
She had me at that stands thing that she did. How do you do the stand? I was like, I love funny. This.
The funny story about that is that was her teasing ScarJo on the set.
Yeah, so I heard that, and it wasn't even part of the script,
and
right?
He made it part of the movie. So,
which is just like absolutely awesome. Like, absolutely
really
awesome. That's great.
Shout out to KY Bob with a $10 super chat. Absolutely incredible, dude. You're amazing, and good job on gaming beyond the box tonight. I was catching some of that, and I saw you hanging out there with your shades, pretending to be Bernie from Weekend at Bernie's. That was absolutely awesome, dude. Like, great impersonation. He says, watching from the beginning right now, behind because I was on GBTB, joined late, and we spent a lot of time backstage after the show. Much respect for my guys at Fun Speculation. Great content. Thank you, dude. Super appreciate you.
Thank you.
And everybody else in the chat. I saw Alex is a Valve hanging out there. We still got Geezer hanging out. Pixelbit G hanging out. Just lots of
the
great
OG
people.
Pixel.
Lots of great people hanging out here for this awesome talk. And I saw y'all commenting on those 6 dislikes. Hey, I expected to get bigger after that people get my takes on the Suicide Squad and stuff. Those were there before the show even started, so I don't know. Hey, maybe you can tell me. I'm not sure, but man, dude, Shang-Chi. I was kind of like, there's all these, this next phase when they announced all the movies, right? It was kind of like Guardians for me. Like, I didn't know what Guardians of the Galaxy was. And so before they had the movies, like, okay, it's another Marvel movie. I like the Marvel movies. That's why I'm going to see it, because everybody's saying it's going to be good. And I'm like, in the Marvel MCU, it's tied to everything. I got to see it. But I didn't care or know who these characters were beforehand. But they did such a good job with it. And now for going into this, it's like you got Shang-Chi, you got the Eternals, you know, you got a Moon Knight. There's so many different She-Hulk.
She-Hulk. I'm so excited for She-Hulk. Oh man, I'm so excited for She-Hulk. You have no idea how excited for She-Hulk I am.
Oh, dude,
because the actress paying She-Hulk is super talented. She has a show where she plays like 30 different actresses. One girl plays, like I forget the name of the show. It's on like it's on Amazon Prime. One girl, like I forget her name. She plays multiple characters, but so well, and the idea is that she's been cloned, and she plays it so well that you literally think she's having a conversation with herself, and she's going to be playing like the transformation between her and actual She-Hulk. I'm really looking forward to seeing like them bringing her from regular Disney Plus screen to like big screen. It's going to be real cool. I just hope the pandemic doesn't, pump the brakes on all this stuff again, because it's not going anywhere, so seemingly, and it seems to be ruining things a little bit.
So like, I just think that a lot of these movies we don't know about them, who these characters are right now, but they're doing such a good job with MCU. Then I'm starting to wonder, okay, how is Shang-Chi gonna tie into everything else? Because it's going to.
Indeed,
right? It's going to. There's going to be a thread, right? And that has me interested. Usually, there's another character or two that they introduce as well in some of these movies. Is that going to happen? Who are we going to get surprised by? What character is going to be in this movie that's going to start making appearances in other things, other shows, or other movies, right? And then you start thinking about, how is this going to lead up to the Eternals, right? Because if Shang-Chi, like what it seems like is going to come out there and kill it, as far as reception, at least, we don't know what is going to happen in the theaters because of the situation going on with theaters and stuff. But as far as reception and everything, it seems like, hey, that momentum from the MCU is not going to die, even without the big names, even without the long-term deals, even with new stories. Not before, it was like, okay, it's like a sequence of three things. Then Avengers, you had Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor, right? Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Iron Man, and not any particular order. Then they threw in Guardians, right? And they threw in other stuff only after they had already gotten really established, right? Now it's like they're starting this next phase. It's just like bang, new thing, bang, new thing, bang, new thing, bang, new thing.
They have a lot of crazy teams coming up, like some of them that people don't even see coming. The Thunderbolts is one. Like everybody sees that, and that's going to happen after the She-Hulk, because that'll introduce a bunch of the Hulks that they need for the Thunderbolts. The Dark Avengers is another one. That's where Florence Pugh is all dealing with right now with that's a whole different other team. There's rumors of the Young Avengers, because every single episode of these various shows you have seen a new Avenger, but you just don't know it. There's like the grandson to Isaiah. That's part of the new team. There's the son, twins. The daughter, the twins. There's the daughter to what do you call it, Hawkeye. A bunch of them are being like, so potentially the next couple of phases you will see a whole bunch of different teams, and none of them will have any other faces that you recognize from the original team. There's a lot of threads there.
And I think what they're going to do is go back occasionally with like little cameos from the original team, just to give people those like, oh my God, it's Captain America. Because those were like
when you see one drop,
pillar characters, right? Those are like the pillar guys that you're going to bring in just to give everybody that, whoa, it's him, like the fanboy moments. So I love where they're going with this. It has me concerned at times and stuff, and I still have some concerns with some of the things that we talked about. But I think like this movie, if it is going to be as good as people are saying it is right now, then that eases a lot of concerns, because it just shows that, hey, even with all this other stuff going on, they're still on the right track, right? Speaking of another,
I'm cautiously optimistic.
Cautiously optimistic. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's not been an MCU movie that I don't like. Is there an MCU? I have a question. Okay, is there an MCU movie? I'm talking about since Iron Man that has come out.
Thor: The Dark World.
You don't like Thor: The Dark World?
Only, well, okay, and I wouldn't say I don't like Thor: The Dark World, because as we've already established, I'm the kind of guy that tends to like everything for what it's worth. But if there is a film that is beneath all the others in the MCU, it's Thor: The Dark World.
Okay.
Even though, yes, it's true, subsequent other films and Thor movies have done the Rogue One work of making the Thor: The Dark World better. You know, that filling in the gaps of that bad movie, they've done that, so it's actually better now. But still, I think if you just watch that film by itself, you'll be entertained. But at the time, Hemsworth hadn't really found that Thor voice, so he played it like too straight. And the film itself was just not that good.
Yeah.
What about you, Psycho?
A little Dark World as well. It's a little flat.
But it's not terrible. Just by the nature of the others, it's not that.
Like Black Widow and Dark World are like the two that were like, like if they weren't shown, like other than with the soul, not the Ember for the power. I don't know if that was the Power Stone. But I forget whichever.
Stone, right? You mean
the red one? So whatever was in Thor: Dark World, I forget which.
Oh yes.
Like other than that movie, like what substance does that bring to the MCU other than the stone? And I mean and we didn't know that there was the stone, really.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, they were slowly building that stuff up. Yep.
So I'll say this about Thor: The Dark World, because at first I was a little bit with the same, but have you watched it since watching Loki? No,
and maybe I should do that, because like I said with the whole Rogue One thing, it's filling in the gaps, making it better. It's
not the crazy thing for me. Like, and this has happened like each time I've watched one of these series, like Falcon the Winter Soldier, I went back and watched Captain America: The First Avenger, right? And then I watched the Winter Soldier, and I watched the time. Like, I ended up watching like all the MCU movies again after I watched these shows, because. The shows give you so much more in-depth meaning behind a lot of things, and you retain that, right? Kind of like, okay, retaining the information from Rick Flag, okay, like they're saying, right? That's the only reason you would care that Rick Flag got killed is because of the other movie, not because of the Suicide Squad. But in the Loki show, there is so much more to Loki. And the Dark World, like if you really want the movie to develop who Loki is, the Dark World is maybe that movie.
No,
right?
You're right. Where they really started dissecting him as a character. You're right. Yes, you're right.
And that's where because they go into like where his it's almost like a Loki origin story.
Yeah, where he came from, Bifrost origin story, the Frost Giants and all of that.
Watching Loki, it made me appreciate that movie. So I went back and watched it. I'm like, oh man, there's like so much here that I never really even thought to care about, right? Or I didn't give a damn, beforehand. And then it really puts meaning also if you go watch The Dark World into stuff that happens in Loki. So it's just like, wow, that's what
they're doing. They're trying to go, see, it wasn't a bad movie. Go watch it again. It wasn't that bad. Look what we did here.
And dude,
it was. Shut your mouth.
If they don't do such a good job with that shit, it's crazy.
Because, they really do. Hey, so you have Jasper Gaming in the chat saying that Iron Man 3 wasn't that great. Yeah. I agree with you, sir. That also with the whole the Mandalorian thing with the 3 ring, the 10 rings thing.
It sets up this Shang Chi though now.
They did, yes. They're making it good now. They're making it good.
They had to, they kind of had to give you a little bit because they didn't find who the Mandalorian was. They kind of, but the 10 rings have been a touch in like the first Iron Man and the second Iron Man. There he was in, the 10 Rings has been in a lot because there was a lot of characters with the tattoo on their neck. Throughout all the different movies, there were a couple where it showed it. So they've been teasing this. So I just hope that Shang-Chi just blows our minds.
Yeah.
And, like, explains.
One can only hope.
Who, you know, what's the Legend of the Ten Rings, or what is, you know, who is the Mandalorian, and the questions that we have that were not answered in the last saga.
Yeah. I hear there are a lot of spoilers to be had in this film, so if you have a chance to go see it, do it quickly, or stay off the internet.
Yeah, I can't.
Whatever
I can't
happens.
wait to see it. All right.
About that, are you gonna go? Are you guys gonna real quick? Are you guys gonna see it in the theaters?
If they add it to,
I think it's only at the theaters.
It's only in theaters. Are you going to go see it?
Okay.
Or are you going to wait? It has a 45-day window.
Yeah,
which is better than most of the windows, right?
I'm gonna go. If I mean,
it's only around me. It's like movie theater is like $5, so it's not bad. It's not like, you know, going to
no. And my question about that is, you know, Delta variant and people are concerned and all. That's why I asked.
I was just in Florida, so if I
I'm in Florida now, so there you go.
Yeah, I'm in Texas.
So I'm in Ohio right now, so
it's better, but not that much, man.
Not around
not
here.
that much better.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's like,
yeah. So my I have an AMC over here. I would so want to go see it, but I'm like, no, man.
Yeah, dude. It was an easy decision for me for Black Widow, right? Because it was kind of like there wasn't a lot going on at the time with that. But for this, it's a little bit harder. That being said, when I went and saw Black Widow, it was during the day. I was the only person in the entire theater. I got the whole theater to myself. So the theater that we have has like reserved seating. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to like try and look at the times and see, like, kind of wait a little bit, see like how many people are in there, and then buy a ticket at the last minute for reserved seating, then go in there and make sure I sit in a place that's like far apart from
I might do like a matinee during the day one of these days just to see if I can get in there and nobody's there, just to see
that's
that's
the time, possible. Dude, nobody's there, nobody's at the theater, right? So that's my plan. I really want to see it on the big screen. And not only that, but dude, I'm somebody that's like, I just can't wait. You know what I mean? On these type of movies, right? I can't wait for this kind of stuff. Like, I can wait for a lot of things, but like this I can't, you know. Shout out to Jesse B. Iron Man 3, the Mandarin was so embarrassing. Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. The Mandarin was embarrassing. It was kind of like this twist at the end, and it was like you find out he's just this actor guy, and it's like, okay.
Ben Kingsley of all people, who was such a great actor, and they clowned him that way. It was just bad,
right?
It was just bad.
And he's just like a British guy. He's sitting there watching soccer with some girls and drinking beers. Like,
they have done some weird decisions with the writing on some things in the MCU occasionally. You know what I mean?
But they learn from them though, because we really haven't seen this. You know, since Dark World and Iron Man 3, the bad writing, it's just gotten better up to this point, pretty much.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I agree.
Right?
Well, I mean,
there is also a detour in what's the other one? The other one where they created the robot that was going to kill everybody. What's the name of the robot?
Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron. There you go. That was also, I liked the story. But it was a little too complex for normal audiences.
Yeah.
But people didn't like it.
Him in the comics is complex.
Yes,
even more.
100%.
So to them to really do what they, you know, to get it right. I mean, it was enough to keep the fans happy, and the people that didn't know who the hell the Ultron was, they kind of they roped him in a little bit. But I'm serious. I think that Ultron's coming back.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
He's not down.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, and I hope that next time they do a better job of it. You know, now, I think they did a really interesting job. It's just it was too obtuse for most audiences. I hope they'll go a bit more bombastic, kind of like what they did with what's his face with the Mad Tyrant. They did a real good job with him.
Thanos.
Thanos, yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of Thanos, what if, man, what they did with him there was just
I have not watched it yet. I have not watched it.
You have not seen it yet. Why are you even
not episode 2? I have not seen episode 2 yet. No, that came out today.
Quiet.
I was
very, very quiet, and you have to stay off the internet, sir, because the memes and the spoilers are everywhere. Oh, I feel bad for you. You better hurry up.
That's what I'm doing after the show. I'm gonna go watch.
Indeed. Yes. It's a good episode. I'll give you that. That's all I'll say. It's a great episode. All the changes, you will be very pleased. If you're a comic book head like I was, you'll be very pleased. Very, very pleased.
Yeah, because this one's
so cool that they're doing this.
This is the Chadwick stuff. Yep, this is the Chadwick stuff. Yep.
All right. Yeah.
I don't know if we'll see him again anywhere, but he's prominently featured in this.
They said 4 episodes.
This is the only one, right?
No, he did 4 episodes.
Also, Chadwick did 4 episodes, so we will see him again in others. Okay,
that's at least.
Yeah, I thought I heard he was more sessions. Yeah, I thought I heard
that. 4 episodes, at least voice acting 4 episodes.
Okay, so then we're going to see him again, and after you see this, you'll be excited to see why. The man was brilliant, so you'll dig it.
Yeah,
I can't. I have not seen that episode yet either. I'm watching it after our podcast tonight. So, yeah, dude, I super think all this stuff is like awesome that Marvel's doing. It's just like this whole big world that everything plays a part in, and that's what I hope for DC. And that's if they do go that route. They almost have to, like, all the other projects, what are they going to do with those? I mean, they got to get them out and then start something with,
So you think they should like thread them like Marvel does? You really think they should do that?
I don't think they'll ever have the impact that Marvel does in the theater unless they do that.
See, I think, honestly, what works for Marvel is that fine. DC, go off and don't do that. You don't want to thread it? Fine, don't thread it. But make different, interesting things. Stop with the Batman all the time. Like, how many characters do you have?
They
go off and do very interesting things.
You know what I mean? Like if they do that, right? Like you said, it doesn't even necessarily need to be connected. The problem I have is I just keep restarting things.
Yeah,
I don't
create something interesting and let the public themselves go, whoa, we want more of this. That's kind of happened. Yeah. That's kind of what happened with Iron Man, right? They created Iron Man, and the public outcry was just so vast that it just started to snowball, right? So do the same. Let these people go off, be creative, without having to worry about tying it off to something else. And if it turns into something, great. If not, just keep making interesting stories. I feel like I think that's the problem they've had up until now. They so much want to do what the MCU is doing that they're hurrying it along rather than slowly developing the characters,
Yeah. Instead of doing their own thing, they're like, let's fast pace this and let's cash in this money
skip steps like the Snyderverse and
because that's because their mindset at WB, they're like, well, if they're making billions, why can't we make billions? And that's like, no, they took time, and like I said, they built us up to a crescendo, which was Endgame.
Yeah,
well,
you can't give us Endgame right off the rip.
Yeah, you just can't do that. 100%.
If they really want to make that impact, and they really, really want to have that go to that level, right? They can have individual things that stand out. That's fine. But one of the reasons that Marvel's so successful is because even if it's not the biggest franchise or the biggest home run of a movie, it still matters that much. People feel like they need to see it because
it matters to the broader story.
It matters, even if you have like everything's importance is elevated. Right? Everything's important. See, the TV shows, the movies, everything's importance is elevated, where you could have something happen here, and then 3 movies later it connects that,
it pays off,
and you remember,
right.
and so then it makes you appreciate that more. And then if you go back and watch the movies, you appreciate them more. And then in the future, you appreciate what's coming because you remember seeing something from a long time ago. Now, if you can say 10 years ago, right? Like you're going to watch the movie now, and then you remember something that came out 10 years ago, and it's paying off. You know, like that's the ultimate impact.
Right? Sure. No, I agree with that. Yeah. But isn't that a bit of a honeypot, though?
No.
It's true. It's true that that's the ultimate impact, 100%. But they know that, they see that, and because of that, they're so rushing to try and get that. And the key is to not rush to go get that. The key is to slow down. Right?
I don't want them to rush. They don't need to rush.
Because that's what they're doing now, right? That's what they're half in, half out, which is BS.
What they need to do is start with something, come out with a movie, but then they need to commit. Right? They need to start with something that's a basis, and then make sure it's successful. Okay. Then go and you already have the second one planned. Okay, it's in production. You get it out. Okay, it works, and then it's tied. Then you make the third one, right? Then you got to build something, but you don't do the first time you introduce Batman into the universe that you're creating is trying to kill Superman. Right, like that's how they implemented Batfleck. Was his first time is in Batman versus Superman. He's trying to his motivation in that movie is to kill Superman, right?
Yep. And for the record, I don't blame Snyder for that.
No,
because Snyder has a different mindset. He has a different place he wants to go. Let him go there, but don't let him just go there. Let there be an established Superman canon first before you let him go there, because that's an offshoot, right? I would love to see what like keep going in the Snyderverse. It's not the main canon, but go to that dark place where Batman is doing crazy stuff, and Superman killed a bunch of people. I'm there for it. Let's see that. But but establish a normal one too, and do it in a slow and methodical fashion, so people learn to like this guy. They're rushing
at least one or two Batman movies before you have Batman kills Superman.
Exactly. Let him rise before he falls. You're letting him fall day one. Like, what's up with that?
Yeah, because he was so unlikable during that movie. You're like, what a dickhead. You know what I mean? Like,
very much so.
Yeah, I mean, look, Marvel didn't. I mean, they started off with Iron Man, with Thor, and then Captain America, but they introduced characters in there that brought us Avengers. I would have liked to see, like, they should have done a Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, then did a Batman versus Superman to have all the 3 together, and then talk about others like Aquaman and Cyborg and Flash, and do a Cyborg, Flash, Aquaman later, and then give us Justice League, and do it like that instead of the opposite. They just did it just the wrong way. You know what I mean?
We still don't even have the Flash movie.
Yep.
No, or Cyborg.
Yeah.
We'll never have the Cyborg movie.
Well, the Cyborg movie, that was like his origin, right?
Like, so Justice League was like, because I think Zack Snyder kind of knew like that the actor was not going to probably get another chance at it. So I think that's why it was heavily
he was
Cyborg.
The best part of that movie too.
Yeah.
But that was like the best. Exactly. That was the best thing of Zack Snyder's movie, was that you felt for Cyborg. You felt for him.
And there's a universe in which they do continue this, because WB is all over the place now, and they're selling things off left and right and this and that. There's actually, there was even a conversation where what's his name, Ray Fisher, the guy who plays Cyborg, said that if somebody asked him if he would ever play it again, because there's a world in which all those people who wronged him are no longer part of the equation. It's been sold off, the IP is elsewhere. He would still want an apology, he said, like, in order for him to to try playing that character again. I would love to see another like a real
He was so
cyborg movie.
good, yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
That
he
would be
was so
great.
good in that.
Yeah.
It could be
it
this amazing like one-off, almost like RoboCop,
Mhm.
you know, but like with more heart.
Like all
you know?
the tech stuff he did
Yeah.
before all the shooty bang bang
Yeah.
stuff. That's what I wanted it to go further.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that,
it was
his
very
story
cool.
in that
They
was
did a
great.
good job.
And the whole thing with his dad too, and everything.
Mhm.
It was just
Mhm.
such good stuff there. It paid off at the end with big moments too with his dad and stuff. That was the best part of that movie. The Snyder cut is amazing, but the reason
It really is.
the reason he felt like he had to make a 4-hour movie or 5-hour movie is because they only let him put all this stuff in one. If he could have had
That's right.
chances to build them out over multiple movies, then he
Oh,
would
yeah.
have had to make a
We would've-
5-hour movie, right?
Yeah, we would have had a Justice League 1 and part 2. We would
Mhm.
definitely,
Yeah.
most
Yep.
definitely would have had that.
That's why he's cramming so much in, right? Because he knows he's never going to get the chance to actually
Yeah.
slowly do it. You know.
Warner Brothers.
Yeah, the one thing about what you were saying, KhAos, was about the chance that maybe they could do something in the future. With
Mhm.
the world is possible for this because of WB and AT&T.
That sale. Yep.
Split up. There's now Discovery / WB, right? That is going to be moving forward with this stuff. So the world as we've known it for DC may not be the same because this new company that is unnamed right now. I don't know if maybe they've announced the name yet. I
May
don't
come
think they
and
have.
go. Snyder, we want your whole universe. Hit it to us on a
They
streaming
could,
service.
because
I'd be
they
there for that.
have
for sure.
different they have different goals because they are trying to be a streaming giant, right? They want to be this streaming giant. So how can you do that? The most intriguing thing they have is DC, right? Like off the bat, they got DC. Like as a company, you're trying to build a streaming giant. To have some of the most famous characters in the world to build off of is a huge asset, right?
Yep.
So what would you do? Like AT&T didn't know how to handle that. Okay, AT&T is not a production company.
The problem with AT&T and the problem with that I fear will be this new company is it's what Netflix has learned. Netflix now spends billions with a B every year pumping new content into Netflix. So does Amazon, right? Amazon Prime is now big money, movie after movie, because that's what a streaming service does. Look at the old Game Pass, right? Every month there's got to be new churn because that's what gives you there. This new company will have all these IPs. Will they have the money to
That's a
turn
good
those
question,
IPs
because
into good?
They
Because
started
if they
the company
don't,
by acquiring
that would
debt.
be a problem. That's what made
Yeah.
AT&T give up. It was like, yo, we have all these IPs now, but we don't have the money. We're already in debt for buying all this, and now we need to come up with $1 billion more to make content for it before people will watch. It was too much for them. That's why
Right.
they gave
But
it up.
I will say this, right? AT&T had other business to focus
Exactly.
on
Yes.
and
Yes.
to worry about.
Yep.
This
Hopefully
is-
these guys focus solely
this
on
is
this.
This is
Yeah.
like they got to make this work, right?
Yep.
This
Yep.
is it.
Yep.
You know, if
Yep.
they don't make this work, then the whole thing was for nothing. And
Because
it-
there is a
you know,
multiverse in which DC is bought by, guess what?
Disney. Yeah,
Oh
Yeah.
boy, that
that
would be
their out.
terrible.
If they,
Oh my
if,
god,
if it doesn't work,
that'd
if
be
it doesn't work,
absolutely insane.
then
Holy
one of these
crap.
other major companies will end up
Yeah.
owning DC, right? So
Can
they
you
have
imagine
to make
that?
this work, right? It's too valuable. Now they could be building themselves up to make themselves acquirable by also another company too,
Yeah.
because we're in the world of consolidation, right? Like with streaming services, networks, you know, it used to be ran by the cable companies and stuff like that, but now it's shifting to where there's like all these different streaming services and stuff and streaming platforms, and they're all acquiring content to become the next big streaming conglomerate or whatever to that, because that controls the networks and stuff now. So we're gonna find out who DC is actually going to be a part of in the long run. I think they want to build up to be one of those themselves. If it doesn't work though, it's going to end up being somewhere. But in whatever world, right? DC will eventually get that stuff right, I think. And you know, one thing, but then does that mean I don't get a movie like The Batman, which I'm really excited about coming? Because I actually want that movie. Like that's made for me, you know. Like I keep, we're complaining, hey, they keep rebooting Batman, but man, like as much as people say like, okay, I don't want Edward the vampire to be Batman, you know, I don't want emo Batman, like. Hey, Robert Pattinson has done some good stuff. He's a good actor, right?
Oh,
and
I'm not taking anything away from Pattinson. I think Pattinson's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It's just after Pattinson's established, can we move on from the Bat in general? Like DC has so many great characters, and people forget that because Marvel just keeps bringing out new weird ones, and DC just keeps going to the big three. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. Like, come on, guys. The Flash every once in a while, you know. There's so many more characters. Is actually
my favorite character.
There were so many more characters, you know. I'm looking forward to when they go, okay, let's put some of that shine on these other characters. You know, Iron Man was like a B-list, C-list character until Marvel put him front and center, you know. You would think the X-Men were their tip of their spear. Now you don't even see them anywhere, right? They're diversifying because they have so many characters, and DC is the same. They just refuse to give up those the big three because you know they're afraid of changing IPs and all that.
The funny thing is too about this Batman movie is that okay, first off, the Riddler, I'm super excited that Riddler is the main villain. Okay, but the second thing is this may be a one-off Batman again because the director and Robert Pattinson, rumors are all around the place that they hate each other.
They hate each other.
Get along. So and you don't know who to blame with that. Like from what the stuff that like Robert Pattinson's put out there, it's like makes the director seem pretty messed up. And then it's like okay,
weird.
Like man, dude, they can't. This is like they keep like having these weird ass stumbles.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
like, with
aren't they supposed to also be coming with a Gotham style TV show to match the Pattinson universe?
Yeah, well, that one looks. Well, they have a. Are you talking about a live action one, or are you talking about the Cape Crusader?
No,
because the Cape Crusader
the one now, the new one that the new Batman movie coming out. There's supposed to be an HBO Max TV show about Gotham and you know really? The precinct and all of that. They did the same thing with the TV show back in the day with Gotham, you know, which was a terrible show, but I watched some episodes. Now they're basically doing it, but HBO Max version. You know, like a more gritty adult version. They keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. Like, let it stick. You know, build off of it. Do something. Yeah. I want to see like what's the female team? Birds of Prey or something. Yeah. You know, go elsewhere.
Man, it was like what the DC's done well was the network, so like the Arrowverse. Right.
Yes. I did catch a bit of that.
Like,
yes.
You know, but those have such a low budget. Like they're like such like B level stuff. But at the same point, like there's so many cool characters and like good stories and stuff that they're telling. Yeah. And you can watch a good like 3 or 4 seasons of the Arrow or the Flash and be like, wow, this is great. It starts
and then it jumps the shark.
Yeah. It lost me at one point. You know, like. But man, it had a great run.
I will say. A show that no one's giving credit. 2 shows no one's giving credit to. Stargirl. It was only on HBO Max before, and now they've moved to the CW, which I think will hurt it. But it's HBO Max worthy. I'll say that. It is HBO Max worthy in budget, in tone, in quality.
Which one?
It is Stargirl.
Oh yeah.
It is unusually good. It's better than it has any right to be. It's very good. But of course, now it's on the CW, so people are going to give it that CW treatment. And also, Superman and Lois. If you haven't seen it, it's actually pretty good. Although the fact of the matter is,
the first episode, and I was like, hey, this isn't for me. You know,
trust me, they started wrong.
5 episodes, I think,
and you didn't like it.
I'm like, it was I think it was the first 5 episodes. That's all they had out so far at the time. And I liked it.
Man, they do some real comic book stuff in there that is so wild that no one's talking about.
I haven't gotten that far yet.
Remember in the 90s, Superman died and they had multiple Supermans come out and there was a bunch of comic books about it. Yes. They took that storyline and they did something so cool, but no one's talking about it. They created, like they really did. Yes, Yes, they took this storyline and they did something so cool on Superman and Lois. Like they put Steel, Steel.
Yes.
He is
John
like, there's
Henry.
a version of John Henry in this show, and I was just like jumping for joy in front of my TV, and no one watches this dumb show. No one watches it, and it's very good.
I gotta try
like
it.
very good.
I keep meaning to catch up on season 2 of or is 3 now? Is it 2 or 3 of DC Titans?
Oh, Titans.
Yeah.
Oh,
Titans, yes,
I
Titans is
like
also quite
Titans
good.
because like
Yes.
the first episode, I remember seeing like Robin like running that guy's face over the glass
Yeah.
of the car window.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, this is different. I like this.
Yeah.
That's cool. Then they kind of lost me at the end of the season because like the big payoff at the end was kind of like, oh, that was it.
Yeah.
However, it's a good show. I do enjoy watching that one, and they do a good job of developing characters and stuff. And I think
they're trying hard. Just no one's paying attention.
Yeah. So we'll see, man. I think they got some good stuff going. Real quick, we'll run through this last thing before we wrap up with some outros. Hey, Captain America 4. Psychonauts sent me this. I don't know, was this an official announcement or was it a leak or what? Because Anthony Mackie is getting his own Captain America movie, which to me just sounds badass. So
I have a question.
Yeah.
Genuine question. When you guys watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier,
Yeah.
I am assuming, right? When it ended, it was like, oh, and Anthony Mackie's getting his own show, and it's his own Captain America 4, and it's being written, and all of this came out already, and Disney even spoke on it already. And now today,
I don't remember.
Kinda, yeah. Like we even saw him in the suit, and there's a writer for it and everything. Like, and people already came out with the pitchforks. Oh, Black Captain America! It was a whole thing.
I
happened
remember
at the end of
people
that.
being stupid and upset. About
Yeah,
ridiculous
and
things,
now they're
but
saying it's official. So does that mean between then and now there was a universe in which Mackie went, nah, I'm not taking this, and they would have just like, I don't know, brought like normal Steve Rogers back? I thought this was already done.
See, I assumed that there was going to be like he was going to be in the movies, right? Because Falcon has been in the movies, and this is just the evolution of Falcon's character. He's now become Captain America, right?
No, I get that, but I did see they said Captain America 4, like they said that with Anthony Mackie, like
See,
way
I didn't remember,
right
I don't
at the
remember
end.
That. If they did it, I completely
Yeah,
forgot.
so it makes me think: were they doing a marketing ploy to get him to sign the dotted line? Because had they said it then, was that a rumor then? I don't know. Like that's the weird part for me.
Yeah,
I don't get it. Because when this came out, I was like, duh, isn't this known already? Like, I thought he already did this,
I think they were
I'd have to look.
trying to make him be come on, like push him into it. Like
so that's why they marketed it a bit. Okay. I can see
believe.
that. Okay. Yeah.
I
think it's really cool.
Was there like a? So you said the Captain America 4, and I remember saying
they showed
he is Captain America or something like that.
Yep. And then they showed that
announcement
right after. Like, I wish I could like go back on Twitter and find it. There's so many streams.
Was it like an end credits thing or something? Or
no. It was right, just like how right now you have like Variety saying, there's a report that blah 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 blah. Right after, like literally the day of the last episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, after it had come out and it was trending all day, there was a report just like this saying Captain America 4, Anthony Mackie will have, and they even had like a picture of him in his suit, and
I think I remember that.
Yeah, and they cross-referenced it with a little bit of a video they had at the end of the Disney investor call where they showed the shield with a 4. Because first they thought that 4 was going to be the Fantastic Four, but then when you look back at it now, it was the shield with a 4. So Captain America 4.
Yeah,
this is way back a couple months ago.
Yeah, I think that was. I think somebody accidentally.
Oh no, and I'm not saying you missed it. I'm saying like this news happened already, and now it's happening again, and I think it's weird.
It was one of those things that just like it happened. Like the show was kind of trending so much, and if you didn't catch it, you missed it. but I think it was it got leaked by one of
So that was
somebody,
probably initially a leak, and now it's official, probably. Okay.
and then they went into whoever wrote the article did it as it was trying to jump on like it was an announcement.
Yeah.
But now, deadline.
And the reason why I remember it is because when it first came out, they said that the writers of Falcon and the Winter Soldier were also going to write this movie. This is way back when we heard this, and me and Everborn were a little bit worried because, like, I blame it on the pandemic, but he's like, look, I'm just watching this video, I'm watching the show, I'm seeing what I'm seeing, and I have the critique for what I have, and the story was a little discombobulated. I think COVID has had a factor in the equation. But he was not having it. He's saying the story was a little discombobulated, so he thought that it might be a bad idea for them to give that same writing team this film. We shall see if maybe it was COVID. If it was, then hopefully next time that their outing will be better.
Yeah. Even Malcolm Spellman, I believe he was the creator of Falcon and Winter Soldier. I think he was mentioning that he didn't like come out and say that he's going to do Captain America 4, but he said that he's going
kind of wink, nudge type of thing.
He's going to take the story to the next level. Well, the next level from TV to his movies. So, and then that's who's going to be directing it.
So, what did y'all think of Falcon and the Winter Soldier? Being that this is now going to be like the extension of that, I guess, right?
I think it was great. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it too. I think
I dug it as well.
It was like it was a different like tone for the MCU because but one thing at Captain America has always been is that more like a little bit like grounded tone, right? In the movies where things are like get a little bit more real, even though it's a super soldier running around and stuff, like they play with like different stories about things that have affected us in the real world a lot, right? And that goes to World War II stuff all the way through to current day, right? So it kind of puts them in the setting of on the ground, like you know what I mean? And so like,
I hear you.
They're living in that world. Like you even see like when it's John Walker, right? John Walker kills the guy. Then you see like the people standing on the street watching, and it's like it's dealing with like personal emotion. And it's dealing with like real world issues, plus also dealing with things with people being displaced. There's just like a lot of
themes there.
A lot of themes that people that when you're watching a show like that, it's like Captain America's been that relatable like MCU thing, right?
Yeah.
So they really hit the nail on the head with a lot of that stuff while still maintaining the fact that it's a superhero show and it's also badass and there's a lot of cool scenes and stuff, right? Yeah. So it did a great job. I think my biggest thing that was about the show, if I was to critique it at all, is like they did such a good job at casting John Walker that it actually makes you actually not like to even watch the guy, right?
Yeah, he was a little too good at his job. Yes.
Yeah, you're meant to not like him, right? But like he does it so well, like it's like, man, it's like hard to even like watch sometimes. Like when he's on the screen, it's like it kind of disgusts you, like just this guy. I'm
Get
like,
this asshole out of here!
Put down the shield, asshole! You don't deserve it. It's just like, gosh, like it's like it makes you.
That's what Peacemaker did to me at the end of the movie. Same thing.
Yeah,
I was like, get this guy out of here.
He's Peacemaker.
He's gonna give him a show? No way. What is this guy?
So like, and a lot of people hate the actor because of that. But actually, the actor's doing exactly what he's supposed to be.
He's doing a damn good job.
I think they just like maybe needed to tone it back potentially a little bit to make you more conflicted.
Yeah.
Right? Because that would have
worked
better,
at the end of it, maybe. He did kind of have a bit of a.
He had a savior moment,
a little bit of an arc, Yeah, so we'll see, But no, I completely agree.
And is going to manipulate.
Evil Elaine comes in,
So,
Oh, was it? I think I found it. It was Screen Geek back in April 24th, 2021. I think it was.
Oh, really?
They announced and then Kevin, and then actually, like Anthony Mackie, like reacted like, really? I didn't even know. Okay, cool. Like, so I think that's what.
Interesting.
Because it took on a mind of its own back then. Yeah.
But I liked Captain Falcon and Winter Soldier. For me, like it was really cool. Like they added a lot of scenes and places that were in the comics that have to take place that have to do with mutants.
Yep, they added Wolverine's favorite spot. I was just like, oh no, that's amazing.
Right? So a lot of people, so that's why I'm like, oh, are they going to be teasing is this how they're going to do it? They're going to tease us with like spots and
little
places,
teeny tiny bits of yes,
and then they're going to roll it up, and then like I thought we were going to see like I thought at the
you see just the dude with an eye patch walking around, go get out of my way, bub.
with a cigar and saying,
with a cigar in his mouth. 5'2". Definitely wouldn't be what's his name?
What was
Hugh
his
Jackman.
favorite spot that you're all alluding to that was in Falcon the Winter
Oh,
Soldier?
what's the name of that? What's the name of that stupid
is it a bar? Are you talking about a bar or
no, it's not a bar. It's a city, yeah. It's where they go. Remember when Mackie dressed like Bronze Tiger? You know, and he's walking down, and they're like, "Oh, this place is like the seedy underbelly."
Oh, that place. Okay,
that place is
the name of it.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
Like,
oh my goodness, I will. It'll drive me nuts if I don't remember. But it's in the comics. It's Wolverine's
power broker
basically.
Is.
Yes. Yeah, because they got to go meet because they're on the bridge, and like that place over there is like, don't go. You know, that's like where you don't want to go. That's where.
What is the name of that city? Yeah, I thought that city was interesting, right? Like, something.
Madripoor.
There we go.
Thank you. Yes, it is made famous by in Wolverine comics. It's like he had a stint as a spy, and he'd spent a lot of time in Madripoor. And there's a famous scene of him in a suit with his crazy hair and his like one eye patch, holding a cigar in Madripoor, playing like cards.
We should go back and watch that scene, and maybe we see him in the background somewhere.
You wouldn't be surprised, man. Yeah,
that's their level of thinking.
Yes, you wouldn't be surprised. But no, I'm looking forward to seeing, because haven't there already been rumors that Feige is like having chats with what's his face, Hugh Jackman and them, trying to get him back in and all this. I'm excited to see how he does that.
Yeah, there's so many rumors. Like Hugh Jackman shot down rumors, but there's rumors from freaking Henry Cavill for having talks. So there's rumors of a lot of different people having talks with the MCU, and I'm just curious. Like,
I just think it's a travesty that Henry Cavill lost a Superman thing. That's a travesty, in my opinion. He was built for Superman, but whatever.
Yes.
He was built. Look at him. He was built for Superman. He is Superman. What's wrong with you people?
I like that they're going with Michael B. Jordan for.
I think a Michael B. Jordan
universe.
Yeah, he should not be Kal-El. He should not be. He shouldn't be Clark Kent. That's ridiculous. He should be a different character.
Yeah, he is. He's the who is that?
Yeah, what do you call it? Val Zod.
Yeah, something like that.
That's what he should be. He should be Val Zod.
Which
is basically he looks like Val Zod. Like if they drew him.
I thought that they're bringing in. So I'm hoping that that's what they're doing, and they're just kind of like being like, like making you think he's going to be the next Superman, but he's really not. So let's hope. Like,
I like that DC's being like aggressive with their IPs. Hopefully one of them strikes gold for them, and that's the basis of their new DCEU. Hey, this one worked. We'll keep going there.
I think they could have had something with the Joker movie.
The last Joker, the original Joker one.
Yeah, because it's a grounded dark tone, and it's an origin story. So
sure.
If you were to start somewhere, you could start somewhere like that.
It's great, but then bringing flying people into that world, because that Joker was so grounded. I came from the theaters like loving that film. Like it was top tier film.
But the
I
Batman
can't imagine a
movie
Batman in that
looks
world.
grounded. Like this new Batman movie looks extremely grounded.
Yeah, maybe after I see it, maybe it'll
We'll
make
see.
more sense. Yeah, because
I don't
like
know.
the Joker movie seemed super grounded more than the Nolan films were, which is
Mhm.
odd because Nolan used to be the definitive grounded source. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I'm super excited. I mean when the Falcon became Captain America in the show, right?
Mhm.
Like when he was fighting with the shield and flying around and stuff, it was just like the suit
So
has
cool.
like badass moments, right?
Mhm,
And to know we're gonna get like the next evolution of that in a movie. Who knows how they're gonna tie it in with past events and future events and what the main enemy is gonna be. Is super exciting. But the other thing I wanted to touch on real quick also, we're talking about about all these rumors of people in talks and stuff. I don't think we still don't know who's cast for the Fantastic Four,
Mm.
and we know that's
Yeah.
a thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like we know that Blade's coming, right? That we know who that is, right? They nailed the casting on that, I think.
100%. Yes.
But
Even though
man,
it's still weird, though, Blade's casting is. I think Mahershala Ali is perfect,
Yeah.
right? But Mahershala Ali is basically the same age as Wesley Snipes.
right? You're saying just go back and get Wesley Snipes?
If this was
Wesley
like
Snipes-
new, if this is new
Yeah.
school, you know, oh, he's the young generation, I get it. But if he's the same damn age, like what the hell?
But hear me
Wesley
out here with
Snipes
this.
not gonna
If you hear some of the stories about Wesley Snipes on like this,
oh yeah, he's a
from
prima donna,
Blade-
crazy
Blade
prima
3,
donna.
you would understand.
Yes.
There's no way that
Yes.
anybody would cast him for.
Oh hell yeah,
Blade again
prima donna.
After that,
What I do hope though with Blade, I hope that they like make him like the Whistler character or something. Give him something to do in this film.
Yeah.
Just throw him a bone. I would love to see that. You know,
Yeah.
make him the old school generation to your new school Mahershala Ali's Blade. You know, I would think that'd be very awesome. A lot of old school fans would be like, you know,
Yeah.
that would put butts in seats for me. I think, you know. But yes, I know. There's very, very little chance of doing that because I know his reputation.
It's
I've
crazy.
heard Wesley Snipes' reputation. for sure.
Supposedly the last movie he wouldn't do any scenes unless his face was in it, like because he was like didn't like the direction of the fact that he didn't have as much screen time, because Ryan Reynolds and was it Jessica Biel and stuff
Jessica
like
Biel
that.
and Ryan
So he
Reynolds,
wouldn't have as much screen time. So he was against the movie. So he was like, okay, if you don't need me, then I'm only going to show up for scenes that you need to see my face speaking. And like stuff like that was, so that's the rumors, right?
Hey man,
Rumors,
to his credit,
rumors.
that was a bad film, so maybe he had
Maybe.
something to say.
Maybe, but it's still crazy to see.
Still crazy.
Maybe
prima donna
maybe it's
BS.
bad for that reason, right? So
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Could be.
I can imagine the challenges of working with, like that, like just as a director. Okay, how do we do this? But yeah, I can't wait to see who all the castings are in the future. You know, it's going to be absolutely fun to watch all this come together.
I want to see who they make Wolverine. That's who I want to see.
That's the big one.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they need to have either the yellow brown or yellow blue tights.
And more for me, like what's going to make my day, what's going to make me so happy. This is my number one request. Kevin Feige, if you ever see this, I am pleading to you, please give me Gambit and make him badass. Just please, like have him be you can give him like 10 minutes a movie, but make him a badass character and treat him right. He has been cast aside in the X-Men universe like so poorly. Like,
wasn't there a Gambit movie in the works so many times?
supposedly Channing Tatum was going to be Gambit in a Gambit movie. Yeah, that was the last casting. He was cast to be Gambit in a Gambit movie. It just never came to fruition.
He would have worked well, but now I think he's aged and kind of thicked himself out of it. He's maybe a little too big for that now.
Yeah, like, I don't.
'Cause Gambit wasn't a very muscular, buff dude.
Yeah, he's kind of a.
He was a skinny
Slender.
dude. Yeah.
Slender.
That's why I'm like he may be a little, because in the beginning Channing Tatum would have been perfect, but now
Like, how would you feel like who played Gambit in Wolverine.
Oh, he was
Wolverine
horrible.
Origins.
No, that's like that was like the worst casting portrayal of a character.
Isn't that the same dude who played like oh my god, he played he was like Mars of John Carter of Mars, same actor.
Oh
You
yeah,
know, the movie based on Superman. You know, well, Superman was based off of that, but yes, John Carter of Mars, another guy that got completely shafted. You know, he was not meant. As soon as he played that role, it was over. It was over.
There was a lot of wrong going on in that movie.
Yeah.
A lot of wrong, all right.
I was like, was that supposed to be Gambit? You know, I was like, is that supposed to be Gambit? Like, no, that wasn't Gambit. They wouldn't have done that. And then you find out, yeah, that was Gambit. I'm like, okay, like that doesn't make sense, right? Like they just, come on. Where was the real Gambit during the whole X-Men fiasco, right? Like it was a big part of the comics and also the shows back in the day.
Maybe he can work out. Look at Ryan Reynolds. He played Deadpool in the same movie, and
you're right.
But look at Deadpool now. Like,
yeah,
he wasn't given the right, the script, and they didn't.
Yeah, maybe it's not his fault, right? You're right. Maybe it's not his fault.
Because he has that accent down pretty good. It wasn't like horrible, but it wasn't like. Okay,
all you got to do right now, go Google Remy LeBeau, and like go type in Remy LeBeau X-Men actor into Google. You will see so many Channing Tatum mock-ups, and it's damn good, man. He could have done it. It's just I don't know now, who could. I mean, but I don't know. I think honestly. Gambit is the type of character that you can find a very decent actor that can do that. Somebody who out of nowhere who you would not recognize, that can come out and really pull this off.
I can think of a few off the top of my head. There's one kid. You could even do like Hayden Christensen could do it. But you could do God, what's the guy? His name's Garrett something.
Gareth Edwards.
No, he was
that's the director.
Movie. He has a look. And he also has the accent. God, I'll have to DM you once I remember the name.
Sure. Yeah.
But there's a few actors I could think of, like I recognize on the top of my head that I think could probably pull it off. But they got to commit to actually making him a character. That being said, just because he may have had a bigger part in the movies in the past doesn't mean anything, because. Like they did Rogue wrong, and she was in a lot of the movies, right? So they did.
Did they do Rogue wrong?
Non-existent,
they did Rogue so wrong. They did Mystique so wrong. Oh my god, what they did with Mystique, it's just terrible. But yes,
So there's hope for the future now because it's different people behind it. I think they're taking their time to make sure they plan everything out right, and it's going to be interesting to see how that comes to fruition. But that's going to do it for the show tonight. We went a little long, not crazy long, a little long, but I want to thank KhAos for being an absolutely astounding guest here. Thank you for again answering the bat signal and talking Batman and other stuff with us, Marvel, DC, Suicide Squad, all of that, dude. Make sure everybody out there knows where to find you.
Thank you so much. It's fun having a chat with you fine gentlemen. Us comic book, video game, and culture geeks got to stick together.
Exactly.
I enjoy having these conversations. We could do this all day. Thank you guys so much for having me on the show. I'm an avid watcher, and I watch your stuff all the time. So this is cool for me to be able to have a good chat with you guys. I am on Twitter, TKO0 Asante. You can find me on Twitter, on Xbox, on PlayStation, all at that. As Mav has kindly pointed out, we also do a show called On the Reel, which I do with my boy Mr. Everborn Saga. We do that every Thursday. We do that at 8:00. And if you follow me on Twitter when it goes live, you'll see it. On that show, we're not as as kind as you folks are, that we get a little slanderous on that show. There's some takes that, the like to dislike ratio is very interesting on that show. But we have fun, so it's good. We like to have some real talk, you know. Also on Saturdays, I do a video game podcast with the aforementioned Everborn called the Gaming Circle Podcast. We have fun as usual. We talk. We have our own voice in the gaming community. We like to do a little bit of real talk here and there, speak on things that bug people in the industry, try to find some, you know, common ground. We're trying to find our own voice in this space, you know, and hopefully people appreciate that and come along for the ride. I think this Saturday we might have Gaming Forte on. It should be cool.
Nice, bro.
First time. Yeah, I'm looking forward to having a chat with that man. But no, thank you guys so much. And of course, you can find me on Mr. Boomstick's channel, as I am a member on Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and Friends. Also, that is 7 o'clock Eastern time on Monday nights. But yes, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys having me on your air, and I look forward to coming back again one time.
Yeah, heck yeah, dude. I got a golden ticket. Anytime you want to hang out with us on a Wednesday night, yes, just let me know, dude. Yep. We'll make the room for you 100%.
And I will extend the same invitation, because we need to have some you guys need to come and partake in some slanderous conversations with me.
That'd be fun.
We'll do some of that. Yes. Yep.
Psychonauts.
Yes, sir.
As always, man, love you and thank you for hanging out with us again. Where can everybody find the mellow fellow from outer space?
Yeah, again, thank you, chat, for coming out tonight. You guys were great. KhAos, thank you for coming on. You're wonderful. I always see you in chat and on Twitter, and you know it's an honor to finally meet you and talk to you about some,
likewise,
you know, comic book stuff. I mean, come on, we get to geek out. This is what we love to do.
This is what we love to do. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, you guys can find me everywhere, social media, Psychonauts8. You can find me Tuesdays on Players of Everything, Masters of None on the Noobs and Pros channel. You can find me here Wednesdays, 10 o'clock on FunPop, and Friday, 9 o'clock p.m. on Xbox Ultimate with M7. Again, love my family, love you guys. This is a great night. Missed it. We've been away for 3 weeks. It was great to finally get.
Finally, I hate taking breaks from shows, man.
I know. I was so excited last week. I was like, hey, FunPop. I was ready. I was down here, and I was like, no FunPop?
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is like 9:45. He's like, oh yeah, no. I'm like, son of a bitch. So yeah, it was awesome to do it.
But we're back. We'll be back every week, and looking forward to keep bringing you guys this show, as well as Xbox Ultimate, like Psycho said, Friday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. Also, I'm going to make sure I start getting this up on audio platforms again. So check that out. I'm going to put this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more. Also, same with Xbox Ultimate Podcast. That hits all the audio platforms as well. So that our last Friday's episode had posted a couple days ago, so check that out if you want to. Always trying to reach more audio listeners as well. One way of doing that is leaving reviews on audio platforms like Apple Podcasts and stuff. So again, hit the like button if you like the content. I'm sorry for my bad takes. If you want to share the podcast out as well, I would super appreciate that. And also sub to the channel if you like what you see. So have a great night, everybody. I super appreciate you in the chat, and thanks for hanging out tonight on FunPop, and have a good one.
Hey, everybody.
FunPop. FunPop.